What's up, everybody? Episode 240. This is actually officially live. We always, when you record stuff, you're always live as the people recording, but we're actually streaming live with an audience that's live right now. So what's up, everybody? The chat says, on time. What? We did it? That was pretty good. I think we were half a minute late, but
happens rare. But we're not all here, so technically
seconds under the
speaking,
wire. Yeah,
that doesn't
if I do
count.
this,
All four of
look,
us weren't here. Yeah, there you go.
He's not here. We'll just leave that up. Ben's
He's stuck in
will
traffic.
be. He will be. He must have stayed up late celebrating with Gannon and
Dude, probably.
Pacific time. So
I would say late, yeah, relative, right? Exactly. It's Pacific time.
So, wow, a lot to talk about. But first, TitanDiscGolf.com. TitanDiscGolf.com is where you should go for all of your disc golf needs. It sounds like I just read or like an ad read. I actually mean it. I think it's the go-to when you want to support a disc golf shop online. I have Marshall Street Disc Golf literally in my backyard, and I'm perusing TitanDiscGolf.com because I'm wanting to support what they do. So everyone go over here. They have competitive pricing. They have a lot of stuff that you're going to want to check out. They have all the pictures of their discs, just like every other big place, but support them because they're supporting us. Over 35,000 discs not tied to their brick and mortar. It's purely an online inventory separate. So what you see there, you're going to get.
Do you guys know who is sponsored by Titan Disc Golf?
Us.
Gannon
Buhr. So I'm assuming if you buy discs from Titan Disc Golf, this is, no guarantee, but you might play like Gannon Buhr.
Wow.
Just kidding. You definitely won't, but you can throw what Gannon is throwing by shopping at TitanDiscGolf.com.
You can seriously support all of your favorite players by buying their discs there. When Paige was on our show the other week, she brought up a disc. I said, let's find it on Titan Disc Golf. Someone's like, why are you sending people away from her? And I'm like, no, like buying her disc will support her.
It
like
supports, yeah.
It's like, and we like TitanDiscGolf.com. So go over there and use their services. Use you got to get this right. Use I was gonna say Nick and Matt. I'll get it right. Use Staggered Stance as your code on checkout. You'll get a percentage off rock bottom prices. The only thing you won't would be off of MVP because they can't go any lower per the rules of law, whatever that is. So everything else, good to go. Ben will be with us soon. So Nick is here. Josh is here. Nick, how's it going, man? You staying busy? Any tournaments this past weekend?
Yeah. I not that anyone really cares, but I've been playing some pretty horrendous disc golf lately. For some reason, I had a great tournament a couple weeks ago. I shot a course record, won a little C tier. And I've played a couple B tiers since then, and I just am not feeling it right now. And it's funny because a couple of weeks ago we were talking about the yips and if I've ever experienced the yips, and it's not a yips thing. Actually, my putting is pretty good right now.
You just need something to blame it on.
That's the only thing. Yeah, it was just funny. Like I was thinking of my tournament yesterday. I was like, is this a yips? But it's like my overall game. But I don't know. I'm just kidding. Anyways, I've been playing some pretty bad disc golf lately. Probably the worst that I've played in a long time. And struggling to find a lot of happiness with it, and I'm just speaking super honestly right now about it. But I still love playing. I still love competing. I do like the feeling of winning, and so I'm excited to try to get back to that. I haven't dropped out of any tournaments. I don't plan on dropping out of any of the ones that I signed up for. I just know that life's busy. Work's been pretty killer on the body lately, but I'm excited to get back to practicing, get out for a couple rounds this week, and then I have another B tier coming up on Saturday. So hopefully we'll have some success at that one. But my success right now looks a lot differently than it did a couple years ago. And so I'm hoping, maybe it's because I turned 30 years old. Maybe I'm washed up now. People call me Unk, and, kids on my card are 15 years old. And I got to look at videos of Tanner Graham, smoking the disc down alleys and, anyways. But all in all, I have some tournaments coming up I'm excited to keep competing and everything like that. But yeah,
I will mention, because you brought it up, because I always look for those opportunities to say something about my kids playing well. Tanner averaged 940 at an event, at a tournament, PDGA C tier, 940 at 11 years old.
He's catching up to me.
And then so he won his first, I already mentioned this last week. And then he just went and played, we talked about it with Steve Dodge, and remember the whole European Future Disc Golf Tour. He wanted to play it, which makes sense because it's actually a pretty big deal, Future Disc Golf Tour. We talked about it. But you had to play a qualifier to make it to the Maple Hill event, which is where more of the competitive players will be. So he shows up, Westy Acres Disc Golf, which is pretty cool. He plays in a field of his age group, 12 and under, and he won by 20 strokes. It was just like, it was incredible. So I've got a lot of highlights I'll keep posting. It's just insane. One of them being what you just talked about, Nick. 360 feet flat to an elevated pin, and he bullseyes it. And I'm like, at 11, I could barely do that now. Like, he's just very confident as a player right now. So it's super fun to watch. Yeah. Super fun. Josh, what'd you do?
This past weekend?
Yeah, I mean, your life.
Let's see. Well, my wife celebrated a birthday and kids soccer, which ended up being rained out, but we had to wait at the field just for the ref to decide to have it rain out. We've had a lot of rain in New England this year. But yeah, like it just kind of family stuff, which is nice. It's good to spend time with family, and I can't believe it's already June. So summer is right around the corner. Just looking at the summer schedule, and it's like jam packed.
Yeah.
3 soccer games in the next 4 days that I help assistant coach. So Tuesday after work, Thursday after work, Sunday noon. Not much time on the disc golf course.
Yeah.
I think Ben is listening while he's driving until he gets to his destination to join us. He said the Titan Open happened this weekend. Well, shout out to Titan Open, but we're sponsored by TitanDiscGolf.com. In all seriousness, what they're doing, they have the brick and mortar stores as well, so that's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and I think they probably had a pretty awesome event. Kale LaVisca played in it. They gave away $1,800 for the winner. Dawson Snelling taking home MPO. So
very cool. I'm in the middle of a bathroom renovation, like full blown. Josh, you know what that's like. I am deep down to the studs, like pulling up floors and ceilings and replumbing everything. So
did you ever get someone to do the demo for you?
I found someone, Nick.
I was going to say, if I wasn't flying to Tennessee the next morning, I 100%, 100%.
You would have made bank.
Oh yeah. That's exactly why
I actually paid pretty good for that one. I was like, I need it done.
Yeah.
I did
saw
find
that
someone.
And I was like, if I wasn't waking up in the next 4 hours for a flight, 100%, I would have walked over to your house.
I started it, and this was like depressed and demoralized. I was like, this wasn't fun. I went over and played Maple Hill League. And as I'm at Maple Hill League, I'm like talking to Steve Dodge, just showing him what I'm doing in the house. And he's like, oh, the guy behind you would do that for you. And I turn around, there's a dude over there. His name's Ryan. And I'm just like, you want it? You want the job? He's like, yeah, I'll be there in 2 days. We'll get it done. So it happens. Nice. Pretty cool.
Nice.
Cool.
So my browser dropped out a moment ago and I came back. We're 2 weeks late. And should we correct our congratulations on the Kona Peach Day Open? Should we that mea culpa?
Just the fact that we were wrong. We were like, congrats, Silva, and like whoever else.
Yeah. So you already said at the beginning, as a reminder, and Nick, you weren't really directly part of it.
It was a pre-recorded show.
We pre-recorded a show. Well, right. But, here's what happened. As a reminder, everybody, we pre-recorded a show before the Kona Peach Day Open, but we knew it would play after. So we acted like we knew who won the event. And of course, had we nailed it, it would have been awesome.
Done that. You remember that, Nick? But, you congratulate someone and you're wrong.
Yeah, so there we are on like Monday congratulating Nicholas Antala and maybe some of us Silva. And so I just, I'm sure they're all listening, but needed to pass the real congratulations on to Maury Villman, who really did have a very strong tournament. That's like,
well, Josh, you and I switched from Nicholas, if you remember, to Maury when Ben told us Nicholas wasn't going to be there. Then we switched back to Nicholas, and we're like, no. So good stuff. Yeah, but moving on.
And then you already mentioned Kristen. I know we're used to her winning, but I think it may come up later because that was her third.
It's going to come up because we're moving into Northwest Disc Golf Championship, and just putting it out there. There was an awesome performance by many of the FBO players. My pop player, unfortunately, not. I can talk about that later. But Holland Hanley takes it down. It's her third Pro Tour win, tying Kristen, who's the first to get to 3 after Kona Piste, which is what you just mentioned. So you have Holland and Kristen now with 3 wins in a row. You have others who are there trying to get that 3rd win now. If that happens and we have multiple players with 3 wins, it's never been this way, right? Evan, who's listening, will probably be able to call me out on this, but I don't know this is an interesting stat to look up. How many seasons have the most with 3 or more FPO winners? Like, I don't feel like there's that many. Right now there's 2. That's probably kind of normal. Paige, Katrina, whoever else right at the time. But like, what if we get to like 4 FPO winners with 3+? Like, that's likely to happen. I feel like could happen.
Yeah. I mean, Missy needs 1 or 2 more?
She needs 1.
No, Missy needs 1.
Yeah,
she's already got
right
the 2.
point.
So
and
shoot.
And that would be the other. Yeah. And then, I mean, realistically, Ella would have to come through and do something like that as well. She would have to get 2 more.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's out there, I guess, and there's still plenty of events left for other FPO players. But that's the basics of what happened, or the results of FPO. MPO, and then we can talk more about the gameplay, but MPO, guys, incredible performances. Frankly, by a lot of MPO players at different rounds. But coming down the stretch, the 3 who really stole the back half of round 4, the final round, Kyle Klein, Anthony Barella, Gannon Buhr. And they stopped showing the scores for the other players because it was they weren't in contention really. I mean, 7 strokes back or whatever.
Yeah, there were a few, like Isaac was bumping around, exactly. But by the time the round was getting closer, it was those duking it out.
And we will break this down as a talking point in a little bit, but just to give the results as it happened, AB coming into the last hole potentially to get the win, a stroke up, and Gannon ends up getting the win. So congratulations to Gannon. Kyle was putting to push a playoff. AB was putting to push a playoff. Gannon would have been putting to push a playoff had either of them hit. That's how close it was. 3 players in it to win it. So,
dude, given the likelihood of how those players play and where their discs were, like, it was more probable than not that we had a 3-way playoff. Like, maybe Kyle's putt is like, it's tough to count it, but very makeable. I mean, a 3-way playoff, I was like, oh my goodness. And then to have it, which again, we can talk about this, but then to have it end on that same hole, right? We're 3 putts away from a 3-way playoff, but yet on the hole, it ended. That's kind of like crazy in and of itself, right? Like 3 people were putting to push it, and it didn't even go. It was just kind of like crazy. And I don't know if we're jumping right into it, but just the drama on the hole. What I'm actually talking about, not even what happened, because we didn't quite narrate the actual story yet, but like the emotions of everybody, all the fans and the players when you see all the replays, and my living room, which was not broadcast live, but literally like some of my family has it on sitting there, and like it's just that moment of like the oxygen leaves the room because everybody's silent. And then I realized even like on the network it's silent. And then like everybody's silent, and it doesn't last all that long, but it's that awkward, like, did I just see what I thought I saw?
Well,
so that's exciting about live sports. Like, again, we'll talk about what actually happened, but like,
yeah,
that's the live moment. It was just crazy.
I looked over and saw Stephanie, my wife, who will watch disc golf with us, especially final rounds, especially when it's West Coast and we can stay up late and watch it. Yeah. She had her hands over her face. I looked back, and she's just like, it was the
same in our room, and the same thing on people on TV, and AB, and Gannon, and
everybody.
Fans. Like, it was almost like, it's weird. There's only so many times in life where everybody has the same reaction. Everybody was like,
well, let's get into it. So what happened is AB has the lead coming into the hole, and he had the lead over the previous, how long? Almost the whole round, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back and forth a little bit, but never with Gannon in the lead.
People were pushing and trying to catch up, but here's the thing, and there were a few times throughout the round where AB could have choked it up, and he didn't. In other words, he had the lock on the round, right all the way down. Now, he missed another putt late. Which hole was it?
16
or
maybe?
17? 16, yeah.
Well, because Gannon hit a big one, 40-something feet, to make sure that he stayed a stroke back or something.
Yeah, and AB missed one he shouldn't have, obviously easy to say. But the point is AB wasn't. He was clutching up, if you want it. Like, it was a battle, and then he missed that, which of course in hindsight is a pretty big deal. But
my opinion is the storyline. This is why I was saying that, and this is why we're talking about the storyline in your head is this is AB's to win or to lose, like as in like he's in control. He is in control, and he's in control. So when you come into hole 18, we're just moving there now.
Yeah, I'm saying all the way to hole 18, he's in control. Exactly. Like, it's
I felt like, and I don't know, Nick, did you ever watch this back hole 18 at all, or?
I didn't, except
Okay.
for the putt itself, but I haven't
Okay.
watched everything else.
So then what we're about to say, you won't probably be able to react to, but I'll tell you my feeling on it. We're watching this live, and he goes, and you know it's close, but he has a stroke, right? It was just one stroke.
It might have been 2.
At 18, was it 2?
Maybe I'm thinking Kyle Klein in the mix, but
Because
I'll
a
go back and look at
bogey
the live score.
in Gannon birdied. So, anyways, I don't think it was 2 because that would have been the playoff, right? A Gannon birdie
I'm
and
gonna
a
look it
bogey,
up so
2
we can
strokes.
be
Okay,
sure.
yeah. So
It
I'm
was
pretty
one.
sure it was 1 at that point. But long story short, AB throws his shot off the tee pad. It's kind of tight. There's 2 trees you got to get through, but then you're out in the field. I guess he threw OB the previous day, and Josh just froze up with a funny look. That was weird. And when it came out of his hand, and I don't know who agrees with me watching this, I immediately reacted. That was a very tentative throw, if that's the right word, where he threw it and it appeared as if he threw it in an effort to not mess up. And there's a big difference when you're throwing a shot like, I want to smash this, or if you were behind and you had to execute an eagle, you give it everything and just rip it, right? The way it looked to me out of AB's hand was, I don't want to mess up. That was the drive to me. I don't know, Josh, how you felt about that, but when it came out of his hand, it felt very, I don't want to make a mistake here.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that was the low line drive, right? Which still made it incredibly far, but it was just like hovering over the ground. I mean, it didn't really come close to OB, but just like the way the throw, right? Something was a little bit off, and I don't have a reason to disagree with
previously he went OB the round before. So like, I think in his head, he goes, the only thing I can't do is OB here.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt like he was playing to not lose. That's how it looked to me. That was my feeling. That's me in live in the moment. Everyone else is putting out big, flat hyzers, trying to push left so they have an opportunity to get to score. Whether he messed up or he intended it, he reacted today on social media saying full confidence, just didn't more or less execute it exactly how he wanted. Not a choke job. Second shot, so I'm just moving it through the way I saw it. I don't see throwing through that tree gap on a forehand and hitting a tree as a choke. Because the storyline here we're going to start talking about is, was this a choke or not? At least that's what I think one of the talking points is. And so he executes the forehand very strong. A little left. I do not think that was like a choke, as in like, I'm nervous, I'm going to mess this up. That didn't feel that way to me. But it was a mistake. Then he gets up, has to throw another forehand, almost as OB, but it was just from where he was. But his upshot, his tee shot and his upshot to me were very similar. His upshot to me was, I even called it out as he threw it. My whole family, everyone who's watching, we're going, why did he soft it so much and overstable? It felt like, again, I don't want to make a mistake, meaning I can't push OB right. Like, I'm going down the right side. I have to make sure I'm coming back in at the basket. I cannot push or mess that up. And he came up a little short. 20 feet, that's not that far. He came up a little shorter than he obviously wanted to be parked. And then the missed putt. Nick, you did see this one. You can react to this.
Yeah, I did see the upshot and the putt. The
putt, to me, is a missed putt. It's 50-50. That's my take on it. People say that should have caught. Some people say it shouldn't have caught. If you look at a percentage stats and we put percentages on baskets, where he hit is probably, some might say it's a 60-40 in, but I feel like it's more like it's 50-50. And if you want to be sure, you can't hit the outside chains. I don't think he choked. I think he just, you're not perfect. That's all there is to it.
Just pulled it a little bit right. AB's a flat putter, right? He puts very, very direct at the pole. So him coming in on the right side, the way that he did, does kind of have that 50-50 shot of it's either going to suck into the basket or it's just going to kind of go and then just fall straight, which it seems like it kind of pushed out a little bit. So I think that's one of those 50-50 putts. You know, we could have been talking about this and saying, yeah, it caught it. You know, luckily it caught it and made it in, but it didn't in this time. It just sucks in the moment that it was for Anthony.
I think hole one would be the only one I'd consider as maybe choking, but I don't think it was. I think it was just him being like, hey, I don't want to be an OB. But I do, it's tough. I kind of feel like his upshot, as again, 20 feet's not a big problem. But I do feel like it was just out of the hand again. It felt kind of like, I don't want to lose. I need to just push the playoff. But and Josh, you can react to that, but we're also going to talk about Gannon. In the moment, Gannon knows I have a chance. I can eagle because AB is still likely to get par or birdie, right? So I have to eagle. Well, Gannon throws it literally straight into the trees.
Yeah.
Like, that would be considered a choke as well. It was given back and forth.
Yeah, this whole sequence was crazy, and don't forget in between that's right. So AB throws the low line drive, then he hits the tree. Then, from where he's at, he has to throw it, and it barely lands in bounds, Matt, if you recall.
Yeah.
I think it was a big forehand. I mean, it barely goes in bounds. Then that's when Gannon steps up and chucks it straight up into a tree. I'm exaggerating, but it was like, what just happened?
Let's ask Gannon about that.
Okay. Because I'm like, what just happened?
Let's see if I can actually get this up here. Boom. Oh, Ben's not here yet. I have him on screen, but Ben's not here yet. So we'll just leave that empty. Gannon, you hear us talking about you. Obviously, people talk about you pretty much every single week. You have to react. You were in the green room there a little bit. Do you feel like we're just like hyped up over like no big deal? Do you feel like, no, there was actually something for you guys to be hyped up over? Like,
that was crazy.
What do you think, Gannon?
I mean, it was pretty crazy. Okay. I won't lie.
Okay.
I mean, again, we want to hear your whole perspective, but I was saying a moment ago, it's crazy when three of you have a makeable putt. Like three of you have a makeable putt that pushes to a three-way tie, and we don't even go to the playoffs. Like, just the fact that even happened that way was just like, I feel like it was whiplash emotions in my living room. Like, I'm curious what it was like there, where it's like, well, okay, maybe I'm not going to get it, and then, oh, I can definitely go to the playoffs, and then next thing you know, they're handing you a trophy. Holy cow. Crazy.
Yeah, crazy. It was absolutely crazy. I mean, I didn't even know what to think when, that putt didn't fall for AB. It was, I mean, obviously I was shocked myself. As a competitor, you wouldn't want to see it. And I mean, it's kind of debatable if it was a spit out or not. A lot of people are saying it is. Some people are saying it's not. It's definitely tough to see it end on kind of like a 50-50 ball, it seems like, after, 4 rounds of tough competition. To have it end on a pretty short putt was obviously a bit sad for him. But, yeah, I mean, once I finally realized, I was like, dang, I guess I just won. It was pretty crazy. It kind of happened really quick and out of nowhere.
Yeah. So we've talked about this before, the mentality to literally never give up, which of course in that tournament, like you said, kind of battling all 4 rounds. So obviously you weren't giving up, but coming down to the very end on that hole, like what, so we jumped to the end because I was curious about how you felt with the putts going down, but did you feel like, what was going down even for you? I was just talking about the throw that you had that went into the trees. Like, was there anything going on that like, AB into a tree, you into a tree, like, or was it just the way it happened and it so happened to be hole 18?
It just happened to be hole 18. I think we were probably both extremely nervous and just threw some shanks pretty much.
Yeah, well, I mean, it made it for a lot of drama.
Did you feel like you lost, Gannon, after you threw it into that tree with that shank? Did you feel like that was it?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay. Because you were like, I'm going to birdie.
Yeah, I knew I was going to birdie. And worst case, it'd be a playoff.
Okay. So you were just frustrated that you did. So, yeah, so it was a win-win going for the Eagle. I mean, that's obvious, right? Like, even if you win OB, technically it wasn't over.
Yeah, because I could have still made like a birdie putt.
Right. Well, knowing what you know now, you probably wouldn't have. You would have just laid up to get you easy birdie, but.
Yeah, but obviously you can't do that in that moment.
No, absolutely not. Did you see also how close AB's, were you able to see that when AB threw his forehand kind of get out of jail and it skipped OB and came back in? Did you see that moment?
What hole? On 18?
Yeah, 18. His third shot.
Third shot. It
barely
landed in bounds.
OB.
Well, interesting. On the camera, it went out of bounds like 2 feet, and then it just kind of came in like by a couple feet. So.
Yeah, I think it was a camera
bad
like,
angle
thing because of the way that it's like it's really hilly right
it's a
there,
hill,
so you
yeah.
can't really tell. but that had no chance of going
Okay.
OB.
Okay.
What would have gone OB is his second shot that hit that tree. If that tree wasn't there, he was going way OB.
Oh,
straight.
Wow.
Interesting. That's an
So
interesting
I think
take.
it was a good tree. I think it was actually a good tree.
Huh. Interesting. People, react to everything. I think you were, I don't know if maybe you were, maybe you weren't shocked when you got handed the roses and the jacket and all that. People are like, it's interesting, right? People are now watching live sports and you're part of that. So people are feeling emotions based off of what you and AB and others are doing on the lead card. I think people had this compelled feeling of compassion, if you will, for AB, that when they see you with the win, they kind of feel like, well, fine, you got the win, but you better be sorry about it. Have you felt any of that?
I mean, it's such a weird one because I don't know. In a way, it doesn't feel like I earned it, even though I did, birdie 7 of my last 9 holes on a very difficult course. Just because it felt like anytime we just played such a similar round. Like once I kind of got in the struggle bus there in the middle of the front 9, and I went down a couple strokes, I just couldn't get those back because we would just get the same score on every hole, and so it kind of felt like when I threw a good shot, he threw a good shot. When I messed up, he messed up. So it was like, yeah. And then once he went up 2 on 16, I didn't have my hopes too high just because I know I hadn't played 17 very well, and that hole is a little bit lucky. So it's like, yeah, I just gotta kind of see what happens.
Well, I feel like there's not a question if you earned it, at least from my perspective, because I feel like in sports, you have to give yourself the opportunity to win. You have to.
Yeah.
And you did. Because, I mean, let's just say that happened on 17 instead, and now you go in with the 1-stroke lead to 18, we'd say you earned it, right? Like, it would feel different. Just because it's the last hole, it feels, to your point, like you're saying, like maybe not. But you put yourself there, Gannon. It happened the way it did. We know it happened. You won. I think it's interesting, like I said, to hear people being like, well, I wish Gannon would say the basket, was at fault here. Like, I didn't earn this. I don't think the basket was at fault. I know you saying you see it both ways online, Gannon. How do you see it? Like, is that a 50-50 putt like we're talking about? Or do you feel like, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to call it. I mean, the tough thing, especially on like a right side miss when it's that short of a putt, is it looks worse than it probably is, like worse of a spit out than it probably is, because like the disc is at no point ever like fading back into the chains. So when you see like a right side putt spit out when it's actually like on a 40-footer that's fading back into the chains, it just depends on the angle it's coming in. Like he's a pretty flat spin putter, so it was almost moving a little bit left to right. And if you watch the video back, it's like drifting left to right as it hits the chains. And then, yeah, I mean, I saw a couple putts this week where sometimes that's just how your putters hit the basket and they pop out like that. I mean, the chain assembly in these are pretty wide down low even. So like, and they're also lightweight. So like he kind of like pushed through to the back and then fell out. Like I've seen that a lot. It definitely, yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know. I expected it to catch. And
is that what your reaction was? Is that what your reaction was then? Because you expected it to catch and then you saw it hit the ground, like because you looked like I don't want to say devastated, like he did the same action as AB. Like, what was your feeling compared to obviously AB's?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I just couldn't believe it just because he had been so solid the whole day putting. He had a couple mishaps, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just saw it hit the ground and then kind of realized I'd won, and it was just really crazy. It all happened so fast, and the momentum swung in my favor so quickly.
Did your caddy keep you in the right mindset going to that last hole, or what, Ben? I mean, again, honestly, I should
absolutely. I locked them in. I said, well, here's the thing with Gannon. He said,
we'll just interview Ben from
this weekend. This weekend, So at Glenavere, the third round of the tournament, he's playing terrible front nine, kind of like, and then he says, I'm gonna birdie out, right? And then he proceeded to birdie out, basically. Same thing. As soon as he uttered the words on the fourth round, I'm gonna birdie out. You got like 7 out of the last 9 or something like that, something crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll say something funny too. Is like, so obviously Kyle was playing really good too, and he was actually tied with me with like for the entire back 9, and it was really weird. So Kyle's caddy Brody was my caddy for round 2, and he caddied for Kyle round 1 and round 4. But I was on Kyle's card for round 2, so I had Kyle's caddy when we were on the same card. And then like the final round, I was just getting fist bumps from Kyle's caddy too. And
Yep.
you know, me and Kyle, it almost felt like we were like on a team in a way, like coming down the stretch. Like when AB missed his putt in hole 12, I was like, we needed that. and like as if like we weren't battling or whatever.
Right.
So like it was kind of funny. Like I was just treating like we were like just one person, I guess. I wasn't like even concerned about, you know, losing to Kyle. I was just like so focused on who was ahead of us, and I was like, oh, it's our chance.
Well, another crazy thing that I've experienced caddying for Gannon, 2 times he said, I need a miracle to happen. And a miracle has happened, and he's won. One time at Santa Cruz, Niklas had like a 30-footer. Like, pretty much, Niklas, if he pars there, he's like guaranteed the win. He goes for the bird, hits the basket, rolls like 180 feet down the hill, like a miracle. Literally what Gannon needed. And then same thing here. So I don't know. He's 2 for 2 saying miracles and I need a birdie out here.
Maybe I need to just say it more.
Yeah.
Well, we had this conversation with my son on the disc golf course this last week because people said, "Oh, you know, you got lucky," and you've probably heard in disc golf, right? Like you have to make your own luck. But I do believe the better you are, the more chances and opportunities you'll have when someone else messes up. You're there. So that was my point earlier. Like you're there. You don't.
Yeah.
It's a miracle because we saw how it played out on 18. But again, if that happened in the middle of the round, it wouldn't feel like a miracle.
It was kind of one of those situations where I looked at it kind of like the Pro Tour Championship last year when Ricky was kind of dominating through 3 rounds. And I was talking with my caddy, Schlebach, and he was bogey-free at this point through 3 rounds at Nevin, which is one of the hardest courses in the world. I'm like, and he had been getting a few lucky breaks. I'm like, he's bound to bogey. Like, you can't, it's not sustainable to hold that up. He was making every putt. That's just not sustainable. And so I was able to make the comeback there because he finally started to mess up and got, you know, punished for a mistake that he may have made. And the same thing kind of happened, it felt like, during that final round. AB was playing good, but he was kind of barely squeaking in some putts. They hit like front rim, top band, barely fall in. He had one, I think, back-to-back holes where he like squeaked one in the right corner pocket, almost no chains. And I was just like, oh, of course, again. And there's a lot of holes out of Glenavere now with the changes that you're just throwing into a clump of trees and hope you get through. And every time I threw, it felt like I wouldn't get through, and then, you know, he'd make a good putt. And so it was just like, at some point, I've gotta get something. Like, I've got to get paid back for this. And then, you know, we get to hole 11, he hits like the first tree off the tee, and it kicks to like perfect. And I'm like, again, and it just kept happening. I'm like, eventually something's got to happen where it doesn't go in his favor. And 18, I mean, yeah, just hit the tree one wrong way. You know, tee shot wasn't great. Just put himself out of position. So it's just one of those things, like, you just gotta let it play out and, you know, hope there's enough time left to make the comeback.
You earned the second person to get a second win this year. So it hasn't been like dominant wins by anybody. Obviously, we know, or we've interviewed you last year or the beginning of this year, like, hey, you know, you want to get a lot of wins. Is your perspective shifted, or is it just still your mindset? Like, no, I'm still like where are you at with that?
Yeah, I mean, my putting just hadn't been good the entire year, it felt like. And I think I should have, I don't think there'll be any problem getting a similar amount of wins I got last year. Just based off the tournaments we have coming up. I think I could probably win one of the next 2 events at Preserve or Des Moines to get myself 3 wins going into Europe, and I think I can win 2 of the 4 I'm playing in Europe. So that could put me at 5 real quick, and then obviously I feel comfortable finishing out the season at a lot of those courses. So I think I could get right up there in 7 wins again, 8, 9 potentially, depending on how hot I can get. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's been like maybe a little slow. I mean, Portland was my 2nd win last year, so I mean, I'm kind of right on pace. But yeah, I mean, it's been maybe it looks like a little bit of a slow season, but I've only missed the top 5 one time, and that was the first event of the year. I feel like no one's really talked about that just because I missed it the first event of the year. But ever since then, I've been inside the top 5. So I've been playing consistent, giving myself chances, never giving up on the final rounds, and just shooting consistent the whole year, even when my game isn't on.
Gannon, some chat said, take us through the shot selection on 18's approach, because I'll tell you my opinion. First, when you pulled out, so everyone saw you pulled out a tactic, then last second switched to MD5. When in me, the caddy perspective, even though I'm not a professional caddy, I would have had no right to tell you what to do. I was like, why does he have a tactic out right now? It's the MD5. I'm like, this is crazy. What is he doing? Because I thought you were going to go outside of the tree, and I thought the tactic was just not enough, wouldn't have got enough hyzer to actually get close to the basket. Then
Yeah.
last second, you switched it to the MD5. Obviously, you were going to do something different than the tactic than I thought. But yeah, take people through what you were actually thinking.
Yeah, so I was like 250 out or something like that, 240 out. And yeah, here's the problem. It was definitely a backhand flex shot with like an overstable putter. But I was like, there's no way I'm ever gonna throw a backhand ever again because of how bad
After that
my
shankadoodle
shank
dandy.
was. And a forehand is so much easier to throw under pressure. It's crazy. It's so much easier.
Mhm.
So I was like, I'm just gonna throw a forehand. But the tactic play was to go in front of the tree because the wind was kind of good. It would kind of be beating it down. I could throw it pretty straight. But then I was like, but then I felt a little bit of a gust, and I was like, I should probably go more overstable and faster. So I went MD5. And the funniest part about all this is I pretty much didn't even aim on my shot because I knew I would say I went over the time limit, and I knew that I didn't want to take any longer. And so I grabbed my MD5 quick, and in my reach back, I go from like a direct line and I aim a little more left, and I just like completely pull it. And I'm just like, I hadn't even decided where I was gonna throw the disc yet until it left my hand. Like I was just
Yeah.
like, it's gotta go. I mean, I knew I was already gonna get a bunch of crap for taking forever, and so I was like, just get it out of my hand, and yeah, it ended up being perfect, luckily.
Worked out.
Well,
Yeah.
you just brought it up, Gannon. We've also discussed last week new rule proposals. Josh, what were you going to ask?
Well, I actually wanted to go. I want to go there, but maybe before, just to wrap up a couple things on the events. What do you think? Yeah, so it used to be Portland Open, now it's Northwest. So mixing Milo and Glendoveer. You a fan of that? Like, it's 2 really different style courses, I think, right? I'm not on the ground there, but that's how it feels to us.
I'm not a huge fan of it just because I think like they both deserve their own events, and it's nice to be up there for a longer period of time and not feel so rushed when we're up there. And it just kind of sucks because we won't have that until 2028, which is just so long from now. So I know it was like a Worlds preview, but you know, I assume it's gonna be the same thing next year for the Worlds preview again. But yeah, I mean, I think it's its own challenge to play good at Milo and then play good at Glendoveer separately. So I would like to see it go back eventually. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Okay, great. Well, it looks awesome, but yeah, I'm just curious, especially with the way they did 2 and 2, not alternating either. The crowds looked great at the end on camera. Did you feel that? Could you sense that big crowd turnout?
Yeah, it's pretty solid. It was a pretty decent sized turnout for a nice day out in Portland. It was beautiful weather, so we had a good turnout. Obviously, like last year was pretty rainy, but they seem to turn out no matter what, just because they're used to that stuff. But it was nice to have a big crowd again.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, Matt, if you want to ask,
Well,
last time. Oh, go ahead.
Well, yeah. So I mean, we were recording a pre-recording of the PDGA rules proposal. Ben was in his RV. Gannon was at a park waiting for Ben, and we were recording them.
Or
And
like I was 10 feet outside of his RV waiting.
yeah, literally just standing there, not even putt, just standing there. So he's like, Ben, we got to go. We'd wrapped up the show. The show rolled out a few days later. And there was a lot of them, but relevant to what you just brought up with knowing that you just exceeded your time. You knew it was going to get brought up. People are going to talk about it. It happened. Other shows, and I don't mean to throw shade here, but other shows even last week were talking, and I think it even came up that I think the word cheater was brought up in relation to time violation. I will let people figure that out because I don't want to butcher it, but like it was used in association with taking too long. And you did it here. It's over. Like people could have called it in the moment. There's a lot of talking points to that. Do we want people in that position? Everything. But the rules proposal now is that you would have had the opportunity to say, hey, I've saved it up. This is a really important shot. I want a time extension. What do you think about that rule, Gannon?
I mean, I think people aren't going to like that rule, but I'm fine with it. I think it's good. I mean, here's the thing. You have the people that are like, oh, we need to be more like golf. And then they're like, well, no, you got to throw right away. And they're like, I don't understand why pros take so long to throw, like blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? Like, we're actually playing for a lot of money now, you know. If I don't win that tournament, it's about probably $15,000 in a different swing that I'm not getting. So it's like that shot is a lot of money that people don't understand. And it's not just that, it's also the title and everything that goes with it. But I don't watch golf, but I watched the end of the Masters, and dude takes 2 minutes to finish his putt on 18 from however far. You know, it's like I know they play for so much more money, but if you have the argument we need to be more like golf, then look at that, and then no one has a problem with that just because whatever. But
so you like the rule?
I like it because I think like that's just how it should be. Like in high pressure situations, there's no one left on the course. It's the last couple holes. I feel like you should be allowed to take longer just because it matters that much more.
So as a player, are you more likely to make a call, whether it be telling somebody they're over so they granted an extension, or if they've already used up their extensions, then it turns into a penalty? Like, do you feel like that flexibility gives you more confidence as a player, or is that still a fundamental issue?
Well, here's the problem is like I will never be able to call anybody because then I'll just get crap for it. So like me as a player, I'll never call anyone even if they break any rule in the game, just because I know I'll probably get targeted back, you know, if I do end up doing that. I've never called a rules violation in my life, and I've seen so many. And that's just the problem with the rule and the marshals and the players not calling it. It's just the problem. It's all just a problem that no one's saying anything. And it's not that I'm trying to abuse the rule, but you know, it's just it is what it is. Like I hadn't decided what disc to throw, and once I decided what disc I was going to throw, I threw it in 3 seconds. You know, I analyzed the shot, analyzed the wind, and then I threw my disc. You know, and the other thing is like the marshals aren't calling anything. They're not.
Well,
the only football that was called was Kristen's, and that's like the only football ever called.
I was just going to bring it up. I was just going to bring that up because I'm seeing people online being like, well, maybe the officials or marshals should have called something. And I'm like, can you imagine? And Ben, I think you had this point when we talked about this the last time. Could you imagine if a marshal called Gannon on that in that moment and actually said like, I'm a marshal, so it's actually a stroke. And now it ends that way where AB just gets up there, takes a bogey and wins?
Well, it wouldn't have done that because that only works with foot faults. It doesn't work with time violations. You still get a warning.
Well, I'm just saying, had they called it like throughout the event or whatever. My point is like we don't want the marshals calling it, but all of a sudden people are wanting it when they see something like that. It's weird to me.
I want them to call it because then like people quit. Like, just shut up then because like whatever, you know what I mean? Like
I hear you.
Like we can't have marshals that don't do anything. They need to enforce the rules, and you also like there shouldn't be other problem with the rules, there's not an exact time that your time starts. Like, does it start when I range my disc? Does it start when the last person
With the
is
new rule,
thrown and then I'm up?
Gannon, with the new rule,
It has a whole list of items.
I said this actually, and it's just a proposal, meaning it's not rule yet. But when I saw you pull out your rangefinder, I was like, new rule says his time started, which is even earlier.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, when he pulled out his
here's the
rangefinder.
problem. My rangefinder doesn't even work. That's the problem.
He's like, I'm
I
not
need a new
actually
rangefinder.
using it, guys. I'm not actually using it. It's not
No, I'm
working.
just it's basically binoculars. I just smack it to get it to work.
It's literally
basically
just
binoculars.
binoculars.
Like, I mean, I'm just beating it because it won't work. I'm just turn on, dude. It maybe
Dude,
will turn on, but
I wanna see Gannon pull out-
lines.
Pull out actual
For the last-
Ben.
the last
Go
hole.
by Walmart and get binoculars for the next round, just so he can pull out binoculars. People will be
Yeah.
like, "What is that?"
Hey,
Funny
it's not
stuff.
my rangefinder. I'm good to use as much time as I want.
But there's a lot of rules
yeah.
there. Are you ever interested to like look through like the rules as the PDGA announce them, or are you just kind of like, let's wait and see what the new rules are? Which way would you go?
I mean, I'm whatever. I'll just see what happens.
Okay.
I don't care too much about it, but it's just like, if we're gonna have a rule, we better start enforcing it. And I can guarantee you someone on my card faulted that final round, and I can guarantee you, I know for a fact another players on my card took more than 30 seconds on a shot in that final round. And if you break the rule, you break the rule. There shouldn't be a leeway, in my opinion. So,
Well, I will say, props to Jeff Spring, CEO. He was timing
Yeah.
people the
Yeah.
entire, or at least when he was there, the entire round he was there. So it's not like no one was not doing it. He, like, Jeff was there timing it. He just probably didn't see anything. Agreed. Because on hole 18, like, you got to let him play. I mean, no one would want to see you lose or anyone
That's
lose
what I'm saying,
because
and that's what Josh keeps
like,
saying.
I know you had to get 2 violations. I understand that, but I'm just saying, even if it was just a warning, it'd be like, bruh, like, what was the point of that? In my opinion, it'd be like, there's no point to give a warning there.
That's what
The
happened to
last-
me at European Open last year. Was like I got a warning on hole 16. It's like, what?
Well, hole 16's like, I'm saying like that maybe more leeway, but I'm saying like hole 18.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you and AB, if you guys both took 5 minutes each shot, I would have had no problem because I want to see the best player win, not the most violations win.
So
At least.
So this guy comments, let's make it a surf comp. Whistle blows and everybody has 30 seconds to throw. So every 30 seconds, those blow whistles. You got to get your throw in or you miss it. So
To run your disc.
yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, it's chance some of those rules go through, and there's a players committee. I don't know if you're familiar with who's on it. I'm pretty sure Yuli's on it. I think Ella. I'm
I know a little
speculating
bit about it. I don't know too much though.
But like, apparently the general consensus or the majority, as Robert Leonard of the PDJ told us, was that this is like 100% more likely, this rule, specifically the extension, to have them call a time, if you want to call it violation, because now it's, hey, I'm giving you extra time, meaning I'm calling you on it, but there's no penalty right now. So they're saying they're more likely to do it. I don't know how you would feel. Are you more likely to call somebody if you know, hey, I'm giving you more time, it's not a penalty? I don't feel like you're someone that's going to call someone regardless.
I would never call anybody just because I don't think nothing, in my opinion, has an advantage. Like, that's how I look at it. That's how 90% of the pros look at it, is especially like foot fault rules. Like, a foot fault, it gives you no advantage at all whatsoever.
Right, but then I'm going to maybe state the obvious, but I'm curious to have you state it. Like, there would be things that you would call. What I mean, this is a question, I'm making it like a statement. But if a player's like pinched up behind a tree and they clearly take a lie that is giving them an advantage, like meaning they're like outside of, where they should be having their foot. Like clearly and obviously, right? Giving them 3 feet difference, so now they can reach around a tree. Like, how does that go?
3 feet, I'm calling that, but like I've never.
Well, that's why I'm exaggerating to make the point.
Yeah.
Because what I'm trying to clarify is what you're saying is the small things that are marginal that aren't worth calling because it creates either debate, drama, or it doesn't make a difference. That's what you're saying, right? You're like, those things, like, let the marshals call them. You're out of it.
Yeah, and like, yeah, I would like to see the marshals just go crazy one event and no mercy.
Yeah.
Just everyone gets time violations. Everyone gets foot fault calls. Like Katrina Allen should have got a falling putt in the final round and didn't. You know, it's like why are the marshals even there then? You know.
Yeah.
And the other thing
it's
too is like,
interesting.
how can you have marshals on every card that can make those decisions like what happened to Kristen, but you can't use video evidence to replay when, like, that's just so dumb. Like, if you're, I don't know, you guys know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, keep it going.
I think we do know what you're saying. I think it's interesting because there's kind of there's two debates which actually overlap, but one is, do we like the rule? Does the rule add value? Does the rule work? That's one question, right? Like, but the other question is, so what if the rule works or if it's a good rule? How do we enforce it? They're related, of course, but those are two different things. And that's kind of here what you saying is like, hey, the rule maybe is or isn't good. Who cares if I get a time extension or not? But how we enforce it, it invalidates the rules altogether if we're not enforcing them. I don't know. If it's
like you can't just make rules and then not do anything about them, you know?
Which is interesting, whether it's playing out that way or not. I have talked to PDGA reps when they did the whole be at the tee pad 5 minutes prior to your tee time. And remember, there was a few players who got called on that out of the gate. And people are like upset about it. And they're like, well, if we're making a rule, like we have to enforce it, or else, to your point, everywhere it's bad. To your point now, you're saying we'll just do it everywhere then because it's just a free-for-all.
Yeah, and like, I know I'm not going to call any players out, but I was at Santa Cruz this week, or well, not this week, whatever, a couple weeks ago. Sorry, I'm tired. I pulled an all-nighter last night. So, but one player showed up like 2 minutes before his tee time, and they're like, "Oh, you're good. You're good." Like, what? No, you're not good.
Huh.
You're late to your tee time. Like, you get 2 strokes, dude.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm saying the rules and the enforcement, there is a relationship between them, but enforcement is a challenge I think our sport still has. And to be clear, on our show last week, Robert Leonard actually, so this is his words, not me making it up, but he said, I'm calling them out. And I think he had some specific players' names in mind from the competition committee or players he's talked to on the course. I think that's the PDGA's perspective still, right? As they're expecting, it's written into the rule book. So I think it's an interesting tension. And Gannon, I mean, your opinion as one of the top players carries a lot of weight. So I think it's something for our sport to wrestle with for sure.
Yeah. It's a little bit, we're in a weird position right now, right? Like, let's talk about an Elite Series event that Gannon was just at. You have X amount of people in the MPO division. You have X amount of people in the FPO division. So now you need a marshal for every single one of those cards. If we're talking about marshals in the pro level of things, like the comment that Matt had just put up on the screen was there, shouldn't be players calling themselves or calling other players out on rules violations at the pro level. That's an insane amount of volunteers. It's an insane amount of volunteers who do have to be very, very legitimately rule certified to know that, hey, that is a rules violation. Because all the players, we go out and we play these events, we're all rule certified. There's so plenty of rules that if something comes up, I might not know the answer to because I'm not a rules guru. So now you're asking someone, a volunteer, mind you, to go on this card and essentially become the enemy. Like when that guy makes a rules call, they're now kind of the bad guy, right? We always think umpires are the bad guys when they
I was going to say refs are the bad guys, dude.
Yeah, when they miss a call or when they, call something that they shouldn't have, whatever. Like they are the bad people in the sports.
Like, you're never a good guy.
Yeah, but right now, the way that disc golf is at the professional level, for a majority of the cards, it's like playing a rec pickup basketball league. If I'm driving up for a layup and I feel like I got fouled and I call a foul, everyone else is like, oh, dude, you're a wimp. You're such a... Yeah. And I could use a little bit more vulgar stuff that you hear down at the Y, but that's just kind of what we're going through right now. And though I completely agree, marshals, if they are there by whether it's the PDGA or the Disc Golf Pro Tour, they should be held to a standard of if you're going to call someone on something, like make sure you do it, but make sure you do it for the whole card. If Gannon took 45 seconds on hole 18, call him out on it. But if Kyle Klein took 45 seconds on hole 4, call him out on it and be consistent with everyone. But like I said, then that person becomes the bad guy. Like if I was to go to a DGPT event and say, you know what, I'm a marshal, here we go. Everyone's going to be like, oh, he called everyone else on a footfall but Paul Macbeth, and that's because they're friends. And like, it wouldn't work. You know what I mean? And that's where whoever's in that position, it sucks. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm sure the dude who called Kristen on the footfall out at Champions Cup is probably still getting hate online from just the average every single day, disc golfer. But yeah, that's just where we're at kind of in the sport right now. And it sucks. It sucks that players have to govern themselves at such a high competitive level. Like the last thing that Gannon should be thinking about is another player's time, is another player's footing, is anything else besides what he is going to throw on his next shot. That's all Gannon should be worrying about, personally.
Yeah. I mean, and the other problem too is like you said, like the marshals just aren't very consistent either. Like they don't call it for other players. Like, I mean, I had a card at Worlds. It was me, Evan Smith, Chandler Fry, and Calvin Heimberg. And Chandler Fry hit like first available on hole 1 and took over a minute on his first shot of the day. Whatever. We get to like hole 5 or hole 6 or something like that. Calvin throws out of bounds, kind of has like some tricky footing, but takes about a minute to throw a shot. We get to the next hole, and I kind of like walk up to see where I want to throw because it's a completely blind shot out at New London for Worlds. And I go and throw my shot. Probably, I went over the time limit, but then I get an official warning. And then later in the round, Evan Smith, who was like the fastest player in the world, gets given a time violation on a shot he took like 10 seconds on. It was insane. It was like he called that marshal called that completely out of pity because he didn't want to seem like I got singled out. I mean, it was just it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And I was like, of all the people in the world, you call Evan Smith on a time violation, he's so fast. And I mean, it's crazy. So like, we just need consistency. The other problem is like, and maybe it's just me saying this because I'm in the shoes, but I've been told I get targeted more because I have a history of it. Well, I'm like, well, that doesn't matter. It's this round, this hole, this shot. The history doesn't matter. It's not like I'm a criminal that.
Well, you're right though. You're right, but I want to react to that because I've been watching my son in any sport. It doesn't have to be my son, but playing flag football, and he starts. And this isn't what you're doing, but this is for example purposes. He starts. Talking to the refs, being like, hey, that wasn't a good call, right? Like when things go, like he's just animated and like, hey, you're wrong. Are you blind? That kind of stuff. Well, then he gets out there on the field and he's the only one getting fouls called against him because the refs like, we're going to watch you more closely. I think that's what's happening here, Gannon. To your point though, a perfect ref or a perfect marshal wouldn't do that. I think that's what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which that doesn't exist. But here's the other thing. Now let's say we want to really elevate the sport, right? Okay, great. Now we're going to pay marshals. And that would be awesome because professional umpires get paid, professional referees get paid. It's something that should happen, right? One thing that we just introduced into the sport, though, is sports betting. So now you've got, I'm just saying, like, this could happen. This has happened. This happened literally in the NBA. You can talk about the guys who went after certain players because they knew their leg or their parlay was happening. Even before legal sports betting was a thing and you went to a bookie to do your sports betting, like referees got sent to jail because of it. And that is something that definitely could happen in the sport. Now, I'm all for paying marshals. I think that would actually definitely help out. Like if you say, hey, Nick, I'll give you $300 to go watch this lead card and be a marshal for the card, I'm going to be a lot more, I would say, intrigued to become the quote unquote bad guy. And the reason I'm saying bad guy is because that's how a lot of people look at him. But I would be more intrigued to become a marshal and have a little bit more professionalism with the job. I know that at the end of the day, hey, I'm making a couple bucks off of it. And you got to hope that whoever is that person is kind of doing it the correct way, right? Trying to be the best and most honest referee marshal that they can be. But yeah, we're just not at that point yet. And it's like, okay, ask the DGP to do that. how much money do you have to allocate now? Or do you allocate that from the LOC that's helping run the tournament as well? It's like, how much money, how many marshals are you actually putting out there? And then we're still in the same position of not every single card has a marshal. It's the same thing as not every single card has video evidence to be used against them. Josh, I know we had talked about this for a while, about a month ago or 3 weeks ago, whenever Champions Cup happened. But, one of the things about playing really well at an event is you get a marshal and you get camera footage happening for you. So, I don't know. That's kind of my take on that.
Wow.
Well,
good take.
what do you think, Gannon? Should we let you go, or you want to keep going? You pulled in all
my
night.
phone is dying.
All right.
Yeah.
I figured.
we will let
we
you
were
go.
putting it in the grave.
All right.
Thanks for coming on.
thank you
Congrats.
for
Hey,
having
big
me.
congratulations.
Thank
Awesome
you.
win.
Yep. Peace out,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Let me know when you send that 10%, bro.
Yeah, he bailed before you finished that.
I'm just kidding. He had 3 different caddies that weekend. They all get
That's
10%.
Yeah, give them all
That's pretty funny. Yeah, the caddy story with
Yeah.
whoever the other caddy was from round 2.
Kyle's
and then
caddy or
Kyle
something.
Yeah,
and this whole group.
he was supporting Gannon.
Hey,
It was
I
pretty
think you were in
funny.
the mix, right? This is kind of a really random question that's not important, but it was maybe hole 18, sometime shortly after AB kicked off the tree, I think. It looked like the camera panned over to Gannon and maybe a caddy or two, and like you were all looking at something laughing. Like, was anything like funny happening on hole 18? Maybe you don't remember the specifics, but like
Nervous
in general, I don't know. In general, what's like happening? Like, we were speculating in our house of like, oh, did they just show a funny meme? Or are they laughing at AB's throw off the tree? Or like, did Ben say something funny? And to be honest, Ben, it may not be a specific moment, but in general, like,
Was it right before AB's or after?
I feel like it was after, because we literally thought, oh, they're laughing because he just threw it off the tree, which of course is not true. I know that's not true, but like,
no, yeah, we were. Our reaction when AB threw it. I mean, I was like, my jaw dropped. I was like, oh my goodness. So that was our reaction. I was like we couldn't believe that just happened. Like, that was like the best for Gannon, obviously not for AB. That was the best case scenario for him, because it, like, where he was, he could have easily gotten up and down for a birdie. It's
for
like,
birdie,
if you're in
right.
bounds off of the first hole, it's not that hard. You just got to keep it in bounds, and like, it's an eagleable hole. It's like it's, you can eagle it. So, but he just tried to chew off a little more, it seemed. So that's why we were shocked, because
that's crazy.
if that misses the tree and goes further, let's just say even if he throws into the ground 200 feet in front of them, he still has a really good chance to birdie, just because like once you're in that area, it's like, when you're a pro, it's just a stock shot, either backhand or forehand. I don't know. We were probably laughing about something stupid. That's the thing with Gannon. He's like a goofball. Like, he's so serious, but he's a goofball. Like, just
that's more of my question. Moments. Right, not necessarily the specific moment, but in general, like, right, what's everybody doing to keep it light? And you're just saying Gannon's a goofball in your opinion.
Yeah, like he's definitely serious and wants to win, but then he'll just be like, imagine if Ninja got a low taper fade. I'm like, what? Where did that come from? like he would just, that's just how he is. He just is silly at the randomest times. But I think that just helps him kind of play. Like, even before the round, he's hanging out, like goofing off and stuff like that. It's just like, that's probably how his way of playing well. Like, you know,
well, it works.
Too much pressure.
Yeah, and Matt, I agree with your take too. Like, there's this quote which may or may not resonate. I'm going to say it anyway. It's like luck, right? Because the word luck came up, and I said luck is the residue of skill, which you can think about it. But the point is you have to have skill to get you into a position. Then things can get lucky, right? But you earn that opportunity. You earn the opportunity for luck to fall right in your lap. People who don't work hard or don't put themselves in position never get lucky. Like somebody who's like in 50th place, they didn't get lucky and win the event. It's the person who earned by being in the second position who gets a little bit of luck. And I don't even know if there's luck in this case, but the point stands. So I don't know. Congrats. I mean, I understand the emotional letdown that Gannon's talking about. It's like, boy, you feel like you didn't earn it. That's because of the human emotion. But everyone else knows that, like, that's the way it goes. I mean, AB, missed a hole earlier, threw off a tree, and then missed another putt. Like, and Gannon didn't. It's the way it goes. So congrats to him.
It's the way the cookie crumbles.
Hey,
the way it goes.
Yeah. So
okay.
I was going to say, I want to move off of Gannon, but can we, what are you moving us somewhere, Matt?
Pop, drop, lock.
That's fine. And
So, but I want to bring
this.
this up real quick. We're belating. What's the right word? We're pushing off. Delaying our picks to not be live tonight. We're not giving the audience any more freebies. No, they listen to our show and they're like, okay, good, bad, whatever. No, but in all seriousness, I don't think we were prepared to make our picks for tonight. Maybe someone was, but I know half of us weren't at least. So we're going to do our picks live like everyone else, but not on the show. So get your picks in for All A Open, but let's go ahead and review what just happened as well as where we are going. Yeah, we'll go with that. Pop, drop, lock. All right, Pop, drop, lock is presented by Hooligan Discs. Hooligan Discs has been sending out discs or swag of some sort. Let us know what you get. Tag us, tag them. I know they're releasing some really sweet plastic.
Premium dimes.
Yeah, the premium
so
dimes.
sick. They say they fly like lunas.
Matt, you're literally in second place.
That's what I'm telling you. So
It's kind of wild.
We're going to get to that in just a second, but let's do the weekly points here. So if we look at the leaderboard for this event, we're going to start out with, oh, hold on. I got different buttons here. We're going to start out with Josh. 51 points, Josh. Better than minus.
Hey, it's
We
probably
all
my
did
best
good
week
this
in a
weekend.
while, even though I'm still the bottom
Crazy.
of the stack, but it's all right.
Yeah, we all did good.
So Josh has 51, and Josh, that puts you into what place overall?
No, I probably fifth. I don't have it in front of me.
Oh.
It's not good.
It's not good. Josh, you are 117th overall.
Right. I was just thinking about in this. I'm still over Nick, so not rubbing it in though, Nick.
Damn.
Up next,
Not
though,
rubbing-
next up, though, just getting more points than Josh is Nick with 72 points this week.
Which I'm pretty sure I was at 72 points after round 2, to where I was like, oh, I'm killing it. This is going to be great. I was actually winning out of our friend group. And yeah, 72.
Well, Taylor Chosick and Calvin Longquist were your good picks.
P1 athlete.
Yeah, that worked
Okay.
out. No kidding. That's awesome. Picks.
Next up is me, 86 points, and I will take it because after round 1, I think I was like 5 points. I had so many minus points up there.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
the big players that ended up making some moves were Sullivan Tipton, but Aaron Gossage,
that's
because
crazy.
Aaron was actually dropped and I had him as a pop, and that's why I was losing points. So he ended up actually popping off almost 20 spots up, which is great. But Ben, we're going to get to you here. We got to give you the accolade of winning this week straight up with 102 points. And here is the difference, Ben. You did Taylor Chosick as well. You did Calvin Longquist as well. Those are good picks. I had Holland Handley as a lock. You did. So and Josh, I think. So like we got Holland Handley's locks. That's a lot of points. The last round, I text our group and I say, if it finishes out like this, like I was implying it was a tie between AB and Gannon. But if it finishes out like this, I take down this week as well as the full season out of every user first place. It will happen. It comes down to the last hole, and just like sports betting, Nick, you're like, all he has to do, he just has to par this hole. Like that's
He just
it.
has to make this 20-footer.
That's it. Every shot, I'm thinking, come on, dude. Come on, dude. Come on, dude. And then the putt falls out. Obviously, it's bigger for them. But Ben, you get the win because Gannon got the 25 points. I got 10. Anyways, good job.
You
Ben.
know what's funny? Maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but as I'm caddying for Gannon on like the hole 17, at that point it's like he's down to like on 17. It's not like over, but it's like Gannon's like, I need a miracle. I'm thinking like, I'm gonna lose Pop Drop Block to Matt. That's literally that was one of my thoughts, and then then it didn't happen.
It's fun.
But yeah, here's my issue though. I don't pay attention too much, and I didn't do it last year. I've never changed my lineup from when I said it on the show. I never checked. The past 3 drops, I've got 0 points because the person hasn't played. So I just have not been paying attention.
If
at
they
all.
DNF, you get points. But if they actually drop before the event, yeah, you don't.
No,
get
they
any.
drop.
That happened to my son too. He's like, "What?"
I gotta pay attention more.
Okay, so here's the shout out, trustworthy narwhal, because we know who this is. This is Mike from California. Got in a charity round through the Paul Macbeth Foundation last year. Played around with him at Maple Hill. He's taking this seriously. But Mike, I'm only 8 points behind you. Great week.
He's coming.
Great week. Let me look
And
real quick.
ratings week is up next. Oh my goodness. Is it ratings?
It is ratings again.
It is a ratings
Okay,
one.
dude, this is gonna be huge.
Where did he fall? Trustworthy narwhal.
He got 75 points this week, so you beat him by 11. This week.
Okay,
he was
must
in
have been a little
52nd
ahead
place.
of me. Okay.
Yeah, you beat him by 11, and now you're really close.
Well, and I will shout this out again. A round with Simon Lazat at Maple Hill is an option for the winner. Like, we're going to put it out there and say, here's when it can work. Can you make it work? But he's doing it, but there's a list of other people here who have good weeks coming up, I'm sure, that could also win this. Do not give up. There's a long season ahead. And we'll keep sending out prizes for Pop Drop Lock. Thanks to Hooligan Discs. We appreciate it a lot. So
Yep.
there
Yes.
you go.
Shout out Hooli.
All right, so FPO, Paige Pierce. People know she performs well out here. We've talked about it, but do you realize the first 4 events she averaged placement 16.75, so almost 17th place. The last 3 events she's averaged 2.6. I know we all know that because you see it and we've even talked about it, but like, what is that about? Like, pure speculation. We interviewed her, and I think she didn't seem to say there was anything specific. I think she obviously likes the vibes, right? The whole area, OTB support, kind of friends, people on the road. So like, I get it's probably partly mindset, but like, I'm just making, we don't even have to, prolong this conversation, but just putting that observation out there. Like, is she going to keep doing that? Or is that literally the West Coast Northwest swing for Paige?
There is
I
something
think she's
about
going to
that.
keep doing it.
It's because she's living. She has more space to chill.
She's what? You cut out a second.
She's living in the RV. She has more space to chill, and she's got her wife and cat and dog.
Yeah,
she's got more vibes going.
Yeah, she talked about that some on the show. I just think that's like, in the FPO field, that's a big swing. To average 17th, it's not like she had 1 or 2 up and down. Like, that's where she was at.
Yeah.
And now she's like in 3rd and within striking distance of a couple wins, like, which is the Paige we were used to for years. So just an interesting observation.
I want to bring up, in comparison to that interesting observation, Paul Macbeth. He says I heard him in the interview this week. He feels like, or he doesn't say feels, he's back in normal order. I'm not quoting him, but that's what he said. Like, as in, like, he communicated, I'm back. I don't feel like there's anything holding me back. I feel like I'm in my normal form. Besides it, he'll have an amazing rounds, and he's having an incredible season as far as, like, the last 2 have been questionable, but finishes go. Like, he's in the top, like, 5, I think, or 6. Like, he's right there, like, for all players in the whole world. Obviously, no win in a while. But this year, he's performing much better than the previous year, and he aligns that a lot with his recovery from the injury. That was last year. He's like, man, that's pretty much what that year was. That's, again, I may not be getting this perfect, but that's what he's communicating, right? Obviously, other life changes, a kid and everything else. But this year, he's performing at what, besides the wins, I guess, he's performing at a serious high level. So when you bring up, like, Paige, all of a sudden, it makes me wonder if, like, she feels like she's back. But when we talked to her and interviewed her, she didn't say much about that. It was very just like, she didn't want to stamp anything as this is the reason. That's how I saw it. There was no, like, this is the reason.
Yeah.
No, in fact, so much so that I don't even think there was really an acknowledgement that
Of
like
that.
she like was not back before.
Not back. Yeah.
Yes. So Paul
Which by the way, I don't think.
that.
I was gonna say I don't know if she may not be wrong from her.
Josh just froze up. I can't hear him. He's going to say from her perspective, maybe that is how it is, right? She doesn't feel like she ever was away from her perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But like from fans' perspective, that's when I asked her that question last week or 2 weeks ago. It seems very that way. Like you haven't been around on the leaderboards. We don't see you. You're playing on the 7th card. You know, like from our perspective, it is different. Josh, you were saying from Paige's perspective, it might be what she's saying, but from everybody else, it looks different.
Right.
Paul is being, I don't want to say transparent. It is just what it is. He's saying like, yeah, last season was off. I was rehabbing and other things, and I feel like I'm back in form. So like, there's a difference there. I don't know, but if Paige continues to do what you're saying, Josh, I know you say it's an interesting observation now, but if she continues to do what she's saying, there has to be a mental thing. I would say that's the only thing I kind of feel like she was alluding to, right? Do you remember that? She said mental scars where something happened. I don't want to say psychologically, but where she started just thinking of all the things that could go wrong. Maybe she's now turned that corner.
She's faced lots of pressures before, which she acknowledged, right? You saw the mental scars. To me, it was basically like, hey, I know how bad things can go. Think of the documentary when she lost Worlds, okay? And you see her, crying in the van. You think about her chase to be 1,000 rated and didn't hit that. Lots of other scrutiny in the media at different intervals, right? And I think to me, that's how, and this is my interpretation of, she also knows, if I miss this putt or if I throw this, people are going to talk about this because being number one in the game is hard. And she was number one for a long time. So I think, it's kind of like, I know what there is to lose. And and maybe she's, continuing to work through that as humans. We all kind of, continue to progress and change. So I don't know. It's fun to see that. You mentioned Paul Macbeth. I want to mention, like, just in general, was it like old school versus new school courses, which is probably not really a fair way to say it, but as far as on the tour goes, Mile MacIver, right? Lots of history. Glendoveer, newish, kind of established now. But was there anything to the fact that Paul Macbeth was great at Milo and struggled at the other at Glendoveer? Like, or is that a coincidence?
We'll let Nick answer that.
I think it's more of a coincidence, but I think it's also something that we've kind of seen, not so much dependent on the course, but it's kind of what we've seen a little bit out of Paul right now. It's almost like he's running out of gas. First 2 rounds or first round, awesome, spectacular. Second 2 rounds or second 3 rounds, depending on how big the tournament is. Kind of see him step off the gas a little bit, which I said this a few weeks ago is kind of the exact opposite of what we used to see out of Paul. It was, either play great all 3, 4, 5 rounds, depending on the tournament, or had 1 or 2 sluggish rounds, but then the final round, that was the Sunday McBeast mode,
But I don't know,
kind of style
Nick,
of things.
Let me just offer this up and you can continue that. Mm-hmm. Running out of gas, I would imagine if Paul's hearing this, he's like, oh, Nick, you're getting a text. But like Cascade Challenge, I don't know that he is, because all of a sudden it's like he's out of it, maybe, like, right? He was far enough out, but he goes, oh, you know what? I'm just going to try to set a course record. Well, then he goes out and he pretty much does that, and he moves back up to 6. So it's like, is it a mental thing, like where he needs to be like, I'm just going full tilt, like I need to set a course record every round? Maybe he would.
Ben, go ahead.
Yeah, that's funny, Matt. I was going to say that because I watched his 3rd round, which he was like +4 through whatever, and he finished plus whatever.
He finished,
and that's
plus
what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I think he is it's not even an issue. I think he's fully committing to every shot. Like you're saying, he's going, like you said, balls to the wall. He's going all out. Mm-hmm. So, and some rounds, like Champions Cup, he's shooting. If it's going his way, he's shooting 14 down. But some rounds, like, he's still committing, but maybe the disc doesn't flip as much, or maybe like he misses that putt. I think that's what I see is happening with Paul. He's going hard every round, committing to every shot. But with that commitment, like sometimes you're gonna commit and you're gonna this is gonna flip OB just because you committed to the line and maybe it wasn't the right disc. So that's what I saw, at least when he shot that +4, is it wasn't anything crazy. Like, what are you doing, Paul? It was just like he was fully committing to his shots. It just wasn't going his way.
It just wasn't working out. So maybe that's all it is, where it's like maybe it's decision making, maybe it's mental, but I mean at the same time, you know, we're seeing more of Paul on lead cards. We're talking about Paul way more than we did last year. So when it comes to how good is he playing, I think he's playing great, minus a few finishes. Like even this one, you know, he can clean up a couple things and then he's right back in the top 10. But Paul's mentality is still to win events, right? He doesn't really care about anything else.
I think that's what it is. I literally think
he
that's
just
what
wants
it is.
to
I think
win
he's
the
just
event.
trying to win,
Yeah.
and he's going all out to win. And if he shoots +3 trying to win, then oh well.
Yeah.
I think that's
but
what
we don't talk much ratings, but a 994 rated round.
Yeah, it'll probably drop for him.
Right, but that's my
I would
point. So
love
like
a 994 rated
right.
round.
So like I'm
Yeah,
not disagreeing with the take. I'm just saying like that is pretty rough.
So-
but how about another? Oh, well, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe this is what you were gonna say. Ulibarri. So
That's exactly where I was going. Another Paul Yuli. That was
it's
fun
similar.
seeing him on the top.
It's similar in some senses of the conversation. Obviously, not Macbeth status.
Different history.
But the point is, what you were asking is, it the courses? Is it more legacy course versus like new era? And I feel like,
Well, look at Sexton. Sexton,
Yes.
what do you
Top 10.
15?
Top 10.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
There you go. And
I think 10.
when you think of Sexton, you don't like Milo. You think, okay, that makes sense. Milo. On Glendoveer, you're like, okay, he's gonna struggle there. He doesn't have that much distance, but no, like he's just pinpoint. He's just nasty.
So this was, and kind of going back to Paul Macbeth really quick. This is originally what I was saying before we kind of went on a little bit of a tangent, but we've seen Paul do extremely well at golf courses. He's won worlds at golf courses before. He's won the DDO, the GBO, you know, at golf courses. It's not like he's not good on them. He just didn't have a great weekend at Glendoveer. And I think one of the things, like Ben had brought up a great point, he's fully committing and it just wasn't working in his favor that round. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get to see how the first 9 holes went. So I didn't see the, 4 over through 5 or whatever it was. I didn't see that start.
It didn't seem like it was 4 over. Like Gannon said, Paul's 4. I'm like, what?
Well, hold on.
Holy crap.
You didn't watch it live, but so there were things like trying to throw a roller, and I'm sure, again, if Paul's listening, he's like, yep. He threw a backhand roller, a bomb, and guess what he hits? He hits a white stake. He hits a white stake.
Yes.
Dead
that's
on to where it hits the stake, and it spins in place. That's how dead it was, and it falls over right there. Like, how do you hit the stake out in the middle of a field like that? I mean, like, that, and it goes OB. So, like, those kinds of things were happening in the first 4 holes, and it was just like, he's probably like, whatever, I'm just playing my game.
That also, that's super frustrating mentally, where it's just like, bro, is that really how today's going to go? And so maybe that kind of happened a little bit, where it's like, if this is a crap that's going to happen all day, like, what the heck am I even doing here? You throw a 400+ foot roller and you hit a stake that's what, 2 inches wide?
No, maybe an inch and a quarter.
Yeah, like inch and a quarter, inch and a half wide.
A common thing at Glendoveer that I heard some of the pros saying was like, Paul even said it on one of the holes. He birdied it. He's like, he's like, dude, I love a hole where I can just blindly throw it and not aim because there was literally no gap. And he literally just chucked. He's like, that was awesome. Like, obviously he wasn't saying he like loves it, but he's like awesome. He's like awesome. I just got to throw it. But that was the thing. Some of the holes, it's like, you can throw the best shot ever, and the green is just there's swarmed with trees. There's no real gap that you can aim at. So that was a common thing where it's like one person like Paul Gannon the last round. It was whatever hole. It's a par 3 on the back 9. It's like you just throw it straight into a bunch of trees. Gannon parked it, and AB put it to like 25-30 if that rings any bells. But literally that hole you're just chucking and hope it misses the trees, and that's how it goes. Sometimes it's gonna miss the trees, sometimes it's not. Kind of like what Gannon was saying, like he was hitting trees. He was hitting some of the trees that like where it was like there's nothing he can do. He threw the best shot he could, and it was just a matter of whether you passed it or not.
Yeah.
What do you think about, moving on, Corey Ellis having his pops performance and not finishing well in the final round, but like not really showing up even since the last almost all, am I wrong here to say European Open? like when he won that a long time ago. Like, has he been? I don't feel like he's really showed up much.
I don't know. Yeah, he might be like a Chris Dickerson, where it's like we don't realize that.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
tell me,
like Chris Dickerson.
yeah,
well, I mean, I need
seventh.
to look, but my reaction's not like a Chris
I want to
Dickerson,
go
but
back.
that was a 7th finish. I mean, last year he had a 5th place finish, but literally outside of that, you ready? Like, I'm not even gonna read them all. 20, 58, 33, 52, 32, 58, 100.
But this year he's doing a lot better.
Yes, this year. Well, yes. You ready? 15th, 32, 24, 45, 34, 19. That's not a lot better. And then 7. So,
well, I'd consider that like pretty up there, solid. If you're averaging, like, I don't know, she's probably averaging like 30, 20. I don't know.
no way. I'm going to do the average.
Oh, I can tell you what he's averaging.
this year.
Pop, drop, lock.
Yeah. Corey.
Well, no, I can tell he's
28th.
averaging 25th.
Or
All
yeah,
right.
25th
There you
with this
go.
finish. With this
Depending what you
finish.
filter.
Yeah, with this
Yeah.
finish. Sorry.
So 25th place.
It is better,
Worst
but that's
45th.
still a guy who won a major. Like, my point is, this was a pop
It is
performance
better.
for
It
him
is
of
better.
this season.
Yeah.
Like, this
Yeah.
season, it was like, there's Corey Ellis. Anybody who picked him to drop was like, what is happening? He's doing the exact opposite. And I know people picked him to drop. We could do those stats sometime, Josh. It'd be fun to see what the percentages of people are picking like on that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we ran that before, and it is interesting.
Like how many
'cause
people picked Corey Ellis to drop
Yep.
and he didn't.
Yeah. Well, right. Well, interesting enough. Yeah, he would have been a much better pop pick in my opinion.
Yes.
Right. Like.
Same for obviously like Nate Sexton, although he is not a pop player for us yet because he doesn't have enough events this season.
Yeah, enough events, but.
Calvin Heimberg is still pretty solid as usual. Like, you're just going to be like, Calvin's just going to be that player. The guy
he's another player where he just commits to every shot and he's just like, oh, well, if he hits a tree. And
Yeah.
just like, it either goes his way or it doesn't.
Yeah,
he can
but
go
what's
down
crazy
as the
about-
most consistent player ever, like in a period of time,
But-
at least at
but
a
tell
top
me-
level.
So Ben, because I agree with you, you're saying that's the mentality, and you're mentioning that for a few of these players. That's also the mentality of Gannon Buhr and AB at this point, right? Or is it not? It's just the difference is their execution is near flawless.
I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's like
Is it different?
Calvin is just like, in my opinion, being able to be up close. and I can't say this about Paul. I don't know like what Paul's, but Calvin, like I've seen him play up close. He'll like throw a drive, and let's say he hits first available. He's just like it doesn't affect him at all. Like it's just like, all right, next shot. Like it seems like it doesn't affect him at all. Where Gannon, it definitely affects him.
Yeah.
Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. But I'm just saying it definitely affects Gannon, where he's like starts to like start mumbling under his breath, like really getting upset. I don't like, but obviously he executes more and better comparatively. But I'm just saying that the type of player Calvin is, it's like he'll just like put up his shoulders and like
There's obviously
maybe
different
say a few words himself.
personalities and all that too.
Yeah, that's probably
that
it
come
too,
into the
but
mix.
Yeah, Calvin is just like, he's like a dog mentally. It's kind of impressive where he's just like, all right, he's literally like the epitome of what they teach in like golf isn't a game of perfect, where it's like, all right, the next shot, like he's the epitome of that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's awesome. Matt, I know you're mentioning names. There's plenty. Like, how about like Eagle McMahon finishes in 12th. I am just going to say we are an hour and a half in to our show. And the first time we mentioned Eagle, he used to be like one of the guys. He was in the conversation. We would have subbed him out for like AB, right? It would have been like
the win last year.
Yeah, and even now, like, by the way, like, still he looked good out there. He had a strong round. Like, so I'm not saying like, but just like, wow, like, will Eagle ever return to that conversation? Do we think that's a thing, or is he the player he is? Which, by the way, is still a top player. Fans like him, but top meaning like what I don't even know his actual average, and he's playing fewer events, it seems. So, like, is Eagle ever returning to when it used to be he could win 9 events like Gannon did last year?
Well,
Was
the
Eagle
thing.
ever at that point though?
Well, we talked about him like he was. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe
that's
he
what I was
fooled
gonna
us.
say.
Like
maybe
he could win back to back. Like, I remember when he won D-Glow, he played really, really well at D-Glow
that
back
season.
to back
He
years.
won. He won a bunch. I feel
and
like.
but at the same time, I think
competition's changing too.
competition's changing. Younger guys
I
are getting
think
really,
Eagles
really good right now.
changed,
Don't
right?
get me wrong. Eagles
Both
He
game
did get
and
hurt.
style has
Both
changed. Like 100%. He's changed. His play style, obviously, manufacturer changed. Right? Is this his first year with MVP or is it
I
second?
think
kinda-
I think it's for. Is it? No, second.
Second.
Pretty sure it's second. Yeah.
Okay. So I can't really use that excuse anymore. But
But just to be clear, you ready? Like
Hey, Paul's our best friend. He's all of our best friend, Daniel. We're gonna stick up for Paul.
all right, so you ready? Eagle. 2018 averaged 5.7, and then year by year 16.6, 7.3. This is averages. Those are good years, right? 7.1 in 2021, and then in 2022, 37th place, back to 17th. Last year, 30th place. This year, 19th place. So like he
I
didn't
think
fall off. Like
Forehand injury though. I think
no,
we're
no, that's
forgetting that.
part of it. But I'm saying I don't know
I
if
think
I've
that's
ever
a
seen him
huge part.
return.
That was like his whole thing. That was like Eagle is the craziest forehand of all
That's
time.
kind of
And now,
my
yeah.
point though. Is just it's changed. And I literally, I don't want to like knock because like he's still a really good player. Would any of us be actually surprised if he got a win? It would be an interesting story because he hasn't had one in a while, right? So like we would talk about it like a big deal, but we probably wouldn't also be like blown away. We'd be like, all right, that's awesome, and then we'd speculate if Eagles can get another win.
It'd be
But
more
it's
like,
just
great,
like
he's
not
done
the
that in
same
past.
conversation. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate. Like I thought like he was going to be one of the top 5, right, of the decade. And
Well, I think
know if that's true now.
remember Simon's crazy good year, and then he hasn't had a year like that since then.
Yeah, but
But
he's
we still
outperformed
kind
Eagle
of-
quite a bit, right?
Yeah, we can still kind of almost think about Simon winning 1 or 2, maybe 3 events in the year. Like he's someone that could definitely pop off and win a couple events.
Yeah.
But I think he's more likely than it is for Eagle to do that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I
Simon's
feel like
playing
that's
really well,
different.
actually.
He is.
I feel like
Yeah,
he's in the
another top 10
conversation
this
every
week.
single.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
And I mean, if you haven't already, go check out Simon's videos. They're posted pretty much daily when he's out on the road right now. And he talks about it, one shot or one hole or, a stretch of 3 holes is what really cost him the tournament. 1 round really cost him from being in contention. And they're fun to watch. They're very enjoyable. So definitely check out his vlogs.
Yep.
I didn't catch that fully, Matt. Did you?
It's Daniel, our friend Daniel, Daniel from Texas, who we make excuses
allegedly
for all the time. No,
after talking smack about Paul. I don't know. I don't
Stop
know,
making
Daniel.
excuses.
we
for
make
our friend
excuses for Daniel
Come
all
on.
the time. Like when he's not in the live chat, we're like, oh, it's probably something really important, like.
So,
But
well,
no, here's
say-
what he's saying is though. He's saying Eagle was viewed as AB is now, and I actually agree with that take because there was conversations on this show, Nick and Matt show, where we
That's
were
what
saying
I'm
like,
saying.
is Eagle
The
is
next best
he
thing.
like the player that is going to be legacy for the future? And because he was that talented. Remember all the highlight reels of eagling holes, like forehand best in the game, backhand, like all those conversations. He was that conversation. He was like AB was. If AB fell off now and didn't ever get like top 10s again, we'd probably feel the same way as we do about Eagle. And it's hard to say that. It's hard because you're like, AB's better than that. Well, we thought Eagle was too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
hey,
it's gonna-
I
I feel like it's just the injury
important.
really affected him. Stuff.
Yeah. And some people never return fully. And fully, that doesn't mean he won't have a great career with a really strong record and maybe some wins in front of him. But it's not the same.
But I don't
to
think
be fair, it's not the same as we thought it would be. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe we were wrong in our speculation.
Yeah, I like
Could've been.
before he injured his forehand, it was like a whip. Like his elbow was like basically looking like a pitcher. Now when he throws it, it's like a kind of like touchy. It's like not as much. So I think he basically like half his game.
Yeah, so he's not the same player,
nerfed.
right? Which is
Yeah,
what I'm
not-
saying.
yeah. Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I mean, and who knows?
It's
There could have been
unfortunate
other
for
factors.
sure.
Hey, I want to segue, and I believe it or not, I want to bring us back to the rules a bit in just a moment. But before, you ready for something more shallow? How crazy is these events with all the time zone changes? It's like whiplash. I'm sitting here on the East Coast. We have a European event, which is like 3 in the
I
morning
know.
and 6 in the morning. And like, before I even like have lunch, like the whole tournament's like over. And then it's like West Coast. And then I'm like, my
9
day is
PM,
over, and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I get a notification from DGN. They're like,
Oh,
and
awesome.
here's the
Final round
first round."
MPO.
Yeah, I'm like, "What?" Like, so anyway, that's just a world commentary on time zone. And it's, by the way, it's pretty cool that we literally play around the world. So that's awesome. But it's like good luck keeping track, right? And this weekend it's going to be back like some crazy. I'm speaking of U.S. Eastern time zone, so I know depending where you live, it's totally different. But wow,
Well,
like
Ricky, I know Ricky. I don't know who else is. Ricky is literally going to Sweden and then coming back for the preserve.
yeah. Well, you know, players
probably
went out for
Ezra
Kona
Ader
Peach
will-
Day. Players
Well,
went out for
everyone-
Kona Peach Day and came back. Like Yuli did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
couple
Everyone
others.
loved that Ale course.
Yeah, all
yeah.
this weekend.
A lot of people loved that, so that doesn't
Yeah, they're
surprise
going
me.
back to
Some good players are headed out
Yeah.
there.
Hey, I don't know if you can fly first class. It might be worth it.
Shoot, might as well.
I don't know if they are, by the way. I'm
If
just
you
saying,
could,
if you
it
can.
is better. Yeah, you could at least.
What is that
have a
like? Is that like
sleeping-
$8,000 a
yeah.
ticket to Europe first class or something? I have no idea.
Can be.
All right. Hey, can we bring it back to the rules just a little bit? You good with that?
Yeah.
I have a couple things. First of all, like we talked about it on our show. We were one of the few podcasts that kind of revealed the proposals before the PDGA made it public on their site. You can go now look at it, see all the rules, consume it to your heart's delight. I want to react a little bit to the reacts, but actually before that, I want to come back to something Gannon said. He said he's never called anyone on anything. And he said he's not going to call anyone on anything. So, do any of the rules that involve players calling enforcement even matter? It's a sarcastic question, partially, but
if they're not calling it, no, the rules don't really matter. That's why.
And Gannon
Here's
says
the
he's
thing.
never going to call it unless it's somebody's getting a 3-foot
I'm never gonna
advantage.
call it. Even like I'm not a pro, but it's just like awkward. It's just weird, and I don't know. Just on tour, everyone talks about everyone. Everyone has their own cliques, and it's kind of cutthroat at times. Obviously, everyone's friends, but it can be cutthroat where it's just like, you know, like if you're known for the guy that calls people, like, you know, you're not gonna be liked. And so I think sometimes that comes into it too. The social status. It's like going to school. It's like, do I snitch on this guy or do I not, and like just let it be, and hopefully I can just like fly under radar at school.
Yeah, I get it, but it's an interesting thing. I have to process that conversation about what do I expect of the players in a sport where the rules require you to make calls. And at the same time, Ben, like I'm actually agreeing with you, which is why I'm like, I would struggle to have a strong opinion because Gannon is being very practical. He's being realistic in his take. He's not saying like whether I would like to be able to call it or not. He's literally doing a calculation and saying it's not worth it. Like if I call it,
for anyone,
I lose more than I gain. That's what Gannon is saying. He's like, you can say whatever you want. You can say I should call it, etc., but I will lose more. And like, I don't know, it's a very practical take on it, right? And that's his conclusion, and probably the conclusion of many other players. Yet we have a PDGA rep on here last week, Robert, saying the players promised me, and he obviously has a few select ones. I'm holding them accountable. They said they're going to do this. And so like, I still think we have a real glaring, like we have a lot of polarity in the field, like people on opposite ends of that spectrum. And it's probably not going to get resolved until we find a way to resolve that.
But,
and like, I don't know.
But this is worth bringing up. How many people are actually egregiously breaking the rule of time? Not that many, right? Like when you're on a card, you know who the select people are. Like in the whole, if we were to go through the whole list of tour players,
or all the other kind of small
violations,
because Gannon says he's not calling anything, and he even mentioned like Kristen and all the others. So,
well,
maybe
I'm just saying I don't think Gannon was talking only about time.
You just switched though the take. In the sense that Robert was saying he has promises on being able to make calls on the time. They weren't saying like everything else easier.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about that one specifically, which is saying that there's not that many people who are like, where you're like, oh my goodness, that was 60 seconds. Like there's people that probably are going 40 seconds or maybe 45. But again, that's harder to tell, Josh. That was our whole conversation before, is like, it's easy to tell when you're really breaking a rule. So my point is, I don't think a lot of people are like making it super easy to tell they're breaking the time rule. And so the people who are, one is Gannon. There's a couple others, right? We obviously know Cupcake, and then there's probably a select few of others. All I'm trying to say is those are the people also who wouldn't make those calls. So like, there's not going to be more calls for people to make. That's all my point is. Like, I guess maybe it'll be easier for people to call it on Gannon or Cupcake or someone else because this new rule would allow for that. But like, I don't know that it changes a lot though, Josh, is my point. Anyways, like the rule doesn't really change a lot. Yeah.
No, which
It
is a
doesn't
lot of
change a lot,
people's
yeah.
opinion, which is why some people are just discounting. They're like, so what? Who even cares what the rule changes are?
Right.
I
It's not going to
think
make a big difference.
The biggest pain point for what I've heard is like, yes, it's easier to call. Like, I would call a time extension. Yeah, that is so easy to call. It's just like, hey, like you use 102, like whatever, just like that's fine. It's like friendly. But like, there's like, now that I think about it, because I said I liked the time, like the 45 seconds.
Yeah, it's not going to change
Um,
anything.
But yeah, now that I think about it, it's just like, okay, you just get 2 free warnings, and then you actually have to do the thing you originally
The
were
hope
supposed
is,
to do
Ben,
on
though.
the
But the
third
hope
time.
is, Ben. But the hope is, and you're someone who takes
that they
longer.
don't do-
You're
that
a
they don't
player
get
who
there,
takes
yeah.
longer. You and Gannon are perfect for each
If you
other.
call it twice,
Remember,
you're
Nick?
like, okay,
we always
I'm not
call
gonna
Ben
do
in our
it.
Oh, yeah.
casual rounds. We're like, come on,
Yeah.
time. So I'm just saying, like, it's more likely, right? It's one of those, and I hate to say it, but it's one of those friendly, hey, listen, we're going to start this early
Yeah.
today. You're taking long, and we're going to get to the point where you're getting stroked. Right now, you're not. It makes it easier to say that. I that's the only thing I see coming out of it.
Yeah, I agree with you, because I think the only time people actually call time violations is like if it's like their 7th hole doing it. I don't think anyone ever calls these violations if it's like they find like 45 second. All right, call. It's
Imagine
like
that.
if they're taking
The first
60
hole of a
seconds
tournament,
every 7 holes,
and I go, hey, buddy.
or after 7 holes.
Hey, buddy,
Well, that's again-
your upshot, like literally the first hole, first round of tournament, I walk up to you, Ben. Dude, I see your upshot, man. I just want you to know you definitely took longer than 30 seconds. Like, how
it's
would
just
that
like,
be?
it's such a weird reality, even for
Like,
people
who
with
is this
hardcore
guy?
rules. Even for people with hardcore rules, probably you could put me in that camp, but I just think that would be ridiculous, right?
The
and so
first
that's why
hole.
and I would think it'd be ridiculous in general to have that sentiment, right? Which is why it's like, that's just not the way any of us want it to be. And what's weird is, for the most part, I'm going to say 99% of the time, we all know, all the players on the tour know, even the marshals roaming the course know, that it would be ridiculous to call all those things, which is why we don't call all those things. So it's somehow we have this like tension, though, of like trying to like put it all out there and then act like we're supposed to call it all. But then in reality, we're like, yeah, that would be stupid. Right. So no one actually does it.
If
So
we
it's
don't
like,
do
how
it
do
on
we
the
find...
first hole, then it doesn't work. Like, as in, like,
Right. Well,
to
that's
your
what
point.
Gannon was kind of funny, right? And I've heard this from others. It's like, he's like, yeah, it would be great if we had like marshals out there and just called everything from the first second.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think I like that obviously needs to be in the future. That's not going to happen. But I think the best way to do it is do not get PDGA marshals. Hire no name in regards to like no one knows them disc golf. Like, put out an ad. We are going to give you $30 an hour. I don't know what it is.
Oh, you got to give more
For
than
people
that.
don't know anything, or no one knows who they are. They study disc golf for like, they put them through a training camp, and I think that would make it better, because right now it's like these PDGA marshals, it's like they do so much more than just marshaling, and it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's just awkward. If we can get a bunch of random people that no one knows, I think that's when they'll be able to call it more, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right. I have one other thing on the rules. So I'm still kind of processing. And by the way, everybody, you have till June 20th to respectfully submit your feedback.
Well, I was just going to ask,
the
Josh,
rules.
before you get into that, like, if we had to say, do we feel like that rule is going to go through? Like, we're all having different kind of feelings about it. Like, is that rule going to be like everyone's saying, like, it doesn't change anything, like, and it won't make it through?
Yeah, no, it won't change. It won't
So
change.
will it
much.
go
My-
through? Like, will the
Sure.
PDGA move it through?
Yeah, I think they will.
Okay.
And I think my feedback, and maybe I should take the time to submit it, is I think there are, like, what are the more fundamental issues you're trying to, like, what kind of needle are you trying to move in our sport? Like, what's the big picture thing? So, for example, if the thing you're trying to move is pace of play, then you need to think more strategically how to do that. I'm not saying it's hard, by the way. That's not my point. I just mean, like, what's the big thing you're going to do instead of whittling away at it? If you're trying to, do something else, like, I don't know, like change the certain level of professionalism, blah, 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 then what are you doing to that end? But we almost, like, you can zoom in so far, and I'm giving credit to the PDGA. Writing the rules and thinking of every scenario is really complex. It is. For people who want to simplify it, it's not, because there's like 100,000 scenarios that you're trying to account for.
Yeah.
But when all you're doing, and I'm not saying they are, but let me change that. If all you're doing is zooming in and you're like the microscope level on the rules and you're trying to make them so precisely perfect, like you might be missing the big opportunity. It's like, I don't know, like zoom out and see what you're trying to actually accomplish.
Well, I think just one more thing on the rules violation. I think their intention for the time extension thing is, yes, for people to call it more. And I think the rule, the underlying rule within the rule is like if you get called 2 time extensions, the player should be, after 1 time extension, the player should be cognizant of that and be like, okay, I gotta speed it up. 2,
wow, you better speed up, bro. They're coming to get you.
I know. 2, then it's like, okay, I gotta keep playing. Like I think it puts it on the player's mind more, because if you get 3, you're just like kind of like a, not like a, I don't want to, like a jerk. You're like a jerk. You're like abusing that. So if you get to that 3rd stroke, you're abusing. So I think maybe that's why it's kind of like an underlying rule within the rule. It's like,
right, it's a way.
Yes.
I agree.
It's a way for the player to like be like, okay, I really got to speed it up because I just got called, without having such harsh thing, and it'll allow other players to call it because it's not as harsh a thing. I think that's maybe the intention of the PGA making that rule.
And that's what I agree with that. I actually think that's probably a big part of it. And that's what I'm saying is just like, either be clear about that or don't. It just feels like we're chipping away at things. And it's kind of like, yeah, what difference will it make? But Ben, I think that if players use the extension and call the extension, you're right. Any normal player, even someone like Gannon's going to be like, "Oh yeah, I went over, and I went over." Right, and we've asked him before. We know like he speeds up. He just talked about it here, how he literally rushed his final upshot because he knew he was over time. So like it does influence.
So can you call that rushing?
Well, he rushed it because he knew he was over time.
That's what I mean. So he didn't really rush. He
rushed for Gannon.
He made a last second decision
compared to
of
what he would have
disc.
done.
Yeah,
in other circumstances. But
yes, because we saw Jeff taking time.
And why didn't Jeff call it?
Because to Josh's point, this is because I feel like Josh's point the previous weeks is like, let him play.
That would be terrible. That would be terrible.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's a courtesy. It's courtesy on the first one, right? He hadn't been called up. No, I know. But this is
Jeff in general.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Jeff would be so hated. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying he should have called it, but at the same time, so you guys don't really care about the rules.
Exactly.
It's like,
no, I know. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. We're all debating the rules, and then we all look at each other and say, in reality, we actually like have a pretty reasonable.
But then, do you remember Rick at the finale last year? Didn't he call time warning on Gannon and going into the final holes? And we were like, if that's
something like that,
that was crazy. Like we weren't happy with that either. But it's the rules, so it's like tough because people get villainized for doing the rules, but then people that don't do the rules, they're like the marshals aren't enforcing the rules, and if we have the rules enforced, we're like we're not even happy with that.
Yeah,
there's no win. No,
welcome to disc golf.
So
you guys, we have joined disc golf. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it gives us something to debate, and I'm partially sarcastic with that, but I'm also serious about it. Is literally we care about this sport. Like, okay, I love disc golf. It's in many ways it's a big part of my life. I dedicate hours to it each week just to be part of this show and research it and watch it. At the same time, it's funny when someone's like, "Oh, what do you do? What's a show on?" And I'm like, "Oh, let me tell you. Like, we are focused on like the niche corner of a niche sport, and this week we're debating rules in 802.03." And they're like, "What the heck?"
Yeah.
They're like, how, like, what kind of show are you on? And I'm like, we're like the nerds of the sport. Like, honestly.
Imagine the cornhole podcast, like where they're like debating.
They're debating like, do you have like black beans or pinto beans inside of the bag?
Yeah.
You can't have that extra bean in there.
On the whole time extension. Yeah. On the whole time extension thing, I actually do like that. If you give a guy a time extension, it happens in poker, in really, really tense moments. I do like it for the fact of there are times when you're in the woods that every so often you got to look at a bunch of different lines, whether you're forehanding or backhanding. Do I personally think that every single player needs a time extension? No. But at the same time, if you were to say, hey, you know what? Now everyone has 2 of them. What is it? An extra 15 seconds? I forget exactly what it was. So you go from 30 to 45. So you get an extra 15 seconds. So realistically, everyone gets 30 seconds. You're adding an extra 2 minutes onto your round, potentially. Like, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. I think in a moment on hole 18 where Gannon could say like, hey, I need a time extension just to really, really think about this shot. We all know the position that he's in the sense of there's a lot of pressure. He's potentially throwing for the win. I actually don't mind it. And I'm one of those people who like, hey, let's get up, let's throw. Come on, you guys have been doing this for years and years and years. You know what to do. Go ahead and do it. But I actually don't mind the time extension aspect of things if that is to go through.
All right, so my one other generalized reaction, and there's some interesting comments in the chat too, but I have heard a lot of reactions both in other media, I'm speaking podcasts, I've seen it in social media, Facebook groups, Instagram comments, I'm sure a bunch of other places. I see Reddit, but don't dive too deep.
Probably a place a lot of our listeners listen to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Like it's obvious, but here's what frustrates me: not the disagreeable opinions, not the like even on here we're kind of like, what the heck does the rule difference even make if nobody's calling it? I wish like I'm sure we have a range of opinions. What frustrates me is what's called setting up a straw man and then knocking it down, which is basically saying how stupid a rule is and not knowing what the rule is. Please, people, stop doing that. Like literally having an opinion on something and not knowing what your opinion is about. I don't like the rules because ABC. And it's like, oh, actually ABC isn't part of it. Oh, well, I just don't like the rules. Okay, so you already had a premise coming in that you didn't like the rules. That's fine. Just say that. Don't like react to something you don't like know about. Literally not knowing about things. So everybody can figure out what I'm talking about. And I have consumed these other media podcasts and shows because I enjoy a lot of what's produced. So this isn't about like an attack on that. It's just, it's frustrating to me because as a consumer of media, like I literally have to sit there and be like, am I wasting my time or not? I find it entertaining. But then I'm like, I'm listening to somebody who actually doesn't know what they're talking about. And let me raise my hand and say, I've made mistakes on this show. So like, that's fine. Like I've said things I don't know either. But it's just like, I don't know, just an opinion I have. And I'm sure everybody has opinions about what we do too. But that is why we're here.
Hey, we're thankful that the PDGA came onto the show and talked about this firsthand with you guys. And I want to say us because I am part of the show. I wasn't part of that episode. But it was awesome. Glad we got to do it. If you haven't listened to that episode, girls and guys,
there's a lot.
Go check it out. There's a lot of info that goes into that. Robert Leonard from the PDGA does directly talk about a lot of these things that we're kind of hashing out right now. Oh, I would say all of these things that we're hashing out right now. So definitely go back
and the
PDGA's
check it out. Posted it too, though, Nick. They've posted it now. You can go read it in its entirety. And for the benefit of all members, you should respond to that. It's hard to be upset.
Give them your feedback.
I'm not the guy that says if you don't vote, you don't get an opinion. I don't believe that. You do. But if you don't share your opinion with them, then you're not going to like have it sway your way at all. So you want to know, here's
the problem. You know why some people don't share their opinion with them? Because they don't take the time to figure out what's really there. So you can't share an opinion on something that's really there. Because guess what? To really submit a meaningful opinion, you have to read the rules first, understand them, and then submit an opinion. And if you don't do that, you can't have an opinion that's worthwhile. You can yell a lot. You can raise your voice. You can say how stupid something is because you think that that organization does stupid things. But if that's the case, just make that your premise.
Caps locks. And then we can think you're yelling on your side of the keyboard. It's quite comical.
And look, I've been scolded before on this show in YouTube comments about me scolding the community. Tisk, tisk, I shouldn't scold the disc golf community. To be clear, I'm in the community. I'm not like scolding the community. I'm part of you all. And this is like my opinion to shape the community I'm in. So it'd be ridiculous to say, who are you to say we should whatever? Hey, buddy, gal, I'm part of your community. This is my take and this is how I want it to be. Like, just be more respectful and thoughtful. And you can disagree all you want because there are some rules in the PDGA rulebook that are stupid. And the PDGA has done some things that we disagree with. But like, I don't know. Be more mature.
That'll do, my friends.
Bingo.
Josh just cured Reddit.
No, not a chance.
I'm
going to be canceled from the show.
Just Josh do a mic drop.
I'm going to be canceled from the show. Either that or I'm just going to like bail. But
you're about to be the talking point of multiple podcasts this week, Josh. You never know.
No, it's fine. Nobody listens to us anyway.
Nobody listens to us.
According to the other shows, they made a sarcastic comment that, oh, we're a massive podcast. But anyway, all those other massive podcasts that exist out there in the disc golf world.
Hey, we like talking about disc golf. We enjoy doing this.
Yeah,
and,
I was going to say, Nick, I don't need to put any other caveats. Literally, I want to say this. This is heartfelt, so anybody who listens this far. I'm dead serious when I don't have any ill will. I actually literally listen to a lot of these other things and consume them because I enjoy, everybody hear that? I enjoy what I hear. But just like all of us, I have an opinion on what I hear and decided to share it here today.
And Josh used to send us messages listening to our show. Like you guys
still
missed
disagree
this
with
or
things
you
on
missed that,
Stagger
or
Stance.
you guys didn't have a clue what you were saying here. So Josh is being very consistent. I'll say that.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Wow, a lot of chat coming in. I'm glad, Josh, you stirred it up. I appreciate that because the engagement is way better.
I kind of want to look at it now.
It's nothing that crazy.
I
didn't even say anything that crazy. I just have an opinion that I'm sharing on a show that I'm on.
No, I think you said. I think your opinion is just like common sense. Like, do research before you give your opinion on. At least you can give your opinion on whatever, but do research before you negatively berate something that you're passionate about if you haven't done it. Like if it's like, oh yeah, blue cheese sounds okay. That's a good opinion if you have never had blue cheese. But if you're like, blue cheese is the worst thing I've ever had, and you haven't had it, then it's like, what are you doing?
Ooh.
Go try the blue cheese first, man.
Ooh, okay. So now we're all gonna bring something to the table because
Josh.
Because of Josh. I thought of this actually this week a little bit too. Was like disc golf, and this may be a lot of communities, but this is disc golf we're a part of. I am a part of a few other communities. It doesn't seem to be as hyper, whatever the right word is here, where you can't be a fan, let's say, of AB and Gannon, or you can't be a fan of Ricky and Paul. It's got to be you got to either hate or say that something's wrong with how they're playing or whatever, or you can't be a fan of, let's say, two podcasts, right? You can't. It seems weird, but we were screenshotted things this week of people commenting on other podcasts about how horrible our podcast is, right? On other podcasts. And now what's interesting about that is our feelings aren't hurt anymore, dude. We've been doing this for 6 years now. Everybody has to you like what you like. But the weird part, and I honestly take a sit back and I'm like, why do you have to hate another podcast to like one that you like? That's really crazy to me. And I get that's the internet. So it's not I'm actually confused at the people commenting this, but to make a take on something that hey, I like this place doesn't require you to hate something else. Now I will say we have a lot of good listeners. Listeners in our show, oftentimes are on every podcast out there. We see them comment everywhere and they like us. They like others. And I think most of the people not commenting are those balanced people. That's all I'll say. I think it's just really interesting. You don't have to hate Innova because you like Discraft. You don't have to be they're horrible. They don't pay their players well. You can literally be balanced. You can be balanced in disc golf. And frankly, that's what I'm going for. So some people don't like my takes because they feel I'm too balanced. And well, you shouldn't, or sometimes they think I'm dumb. That's okay too. But you come back and you engage.
I just like that we're an acquired taste. I think that's
Yes,
why
man,
I
Wait,
enjoy.
can we rebrand this podcast again?
Acquired
and just call
Taste?
it Acquired Taste. That would be
It's just we're not trying to be this breaking news. We're just four guys that have full-time jobs that just do this I love. I love that part of the podcast that we're just doing what we enjoy and saying what we enjoy, and that's it. There's not much more seriousness to that. It's not we're trying to be this next revolutionary news source. So I think we're an acquired taste. If you like us, you like us. If you don't, then you don't, and I respect that.
Yeah, one of the other things, me personally, in my own life now, I don't really care for drama. I don't need to, part of my French really quick, I don't need to shit talk other people to find enjoyment out of my life and be hey, I get to talk about this in my podcast because I'm going to talk crap to this person or I'm going to talk crap about this person. And it's at this point, I just don't care. I very much enjoy watching disc golf. I very
We're
much
not
enjoy all the
journalists.
friends and family.
We're literally not journalists. We're not trying to be. We're not trying to be news.
Yeah.
Like we're due to talk disc golf. And I
Yeah.
used to listen to this. If you know this radio back in the day, not podcast. I'm not going to say who it is, but if you listen to it, you'll know who it is. He used to scream at callers who would call in with an opposite take because he didn't want to deal with it. And he'd go, "Get off my show." And he'd just hang up the phone. And I'm not saying to just shut people down, but my point is, at the end of the day, is like, we're literally, it's okay you disagree with us. It's okay you don't like our takes. Yeah. It's okay if you like our takes. We literally would do this
about
maybe not if there was two
have
listeners,
an opinion about
but
things
like
too.
we like to talk about disc golf. And the people who hate us, they still listen to us. That's the funny part. I actually like that part. I'm like, thanks for coming to hear our show. Thanks, Josh, for stirring this all up.
Yeah.
Josh goes, I don't care anymore.
Our feelings were hurt, guys. Stop commenting about it.
I don't even think, anyway, I don't even think I felt that. Everything you all said, I agree. So I'm not, but slightly staggered stance on it. I don't even think I felt any of it that deeply. I'm literally more like on the academic side. I'm like, don't have an opinion on something that you don't know anything about.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you haven't done any research.
This is fun.
I'm not gonna lie. So I don't get into political arguments with people because guess what? I haven't done my research with it. And so no, I can't give you the pros and cons about what's happening on this section of some bill that's trying to get passed because I haven't done any research about it. So there's no point in getting into an argument about it. I'm definitely not going to go on my show to talk about these things because I haven't done any research about it. It's just, believe me, there are times where like
Nick's like, I don't research anything. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, and I just like whatever. But there are times. Yeah, if you notice the times on this show where I'm like super quiet, don't really talk a lot. I don't even get in on the interview because guess what? I probably didn't watch the event that weekend for some unforeseen circumstance that I couldn't watch the event. So guess what? I'm not going to do. I'm not going to talk about AB. I have no idea what AB did on his drive besides for what you guys described. I saw his upshot on 18. It was a little fluffed, short left, and then I saw his putt on 18. And that's the only thing that I could really talk about. And then I saw some scores. I saw Paul had an awesome first two rounds. He was in second place, and then he was like 4 through 5 in the third round, 4 over through 5 in the third round. And I'm just like, that's all I get to talk about him because guess what? I did not watch what happened because I had I was sitting under an umbrella at my own tournament. And then I was at a bar drinking lots of Coors Lights because I was sad about my tournament. So I had other things going on. But anyways, yeah, to everyone in the chat right now, then everyone that obviously listens
Are we at the end of the show?
No, not yet. But just about. But to everyone that like listens to us, has stuck around with us for the last 5 years, Matt.
This is our 6th year. I'm just being clear. So it's been 5 full years, but we're in our 6th.
But thanks for hanging out. We love it. We like talking about disc golf. We do this. Believe me, Matt or myself, Josh and Ben know this. We're not getting rich off of this show. We love the support that you guys are giving us just to be able to do it. We do this for fun. In all seriousness, we do this for very much enjoyment of it. Matt has spent so much more money, time, and effort into the show than I have, and that's literally because he's just a genius on the side of computer stuff. And I'm just like, I'll click the green button that says
stop talking. This show would not exist.
Yeah, it literally.
There you go.
Oh, Ben, that's the first time anyone said that. I appreciate that. Nice comment.
We would not have this show. I don't know. I just see a lot of Matt, like, oh, Matt. But it's like literally, we would not be. Us three would not be here.
Oh, that'd be nice.
I'm not gonna lie. I love the
I'd
comments.
get my Mondays back.
Yeah.
I love the comments that are saying Nick's only been here for 5 years worth of shows, though, because you guys are not wrong. You guys are not wrong.
That's what it's saying.
You
it's
are
just like
not wrong.
We're just living.
Exactly.
That's
and
funny.
That was one of the huge things about bringing on Josh and Ben is so that Matt and I can take a break a little bit. It's not the Nick and Matt show. It is staggered stance, and we have Ben and Josh. Evan. R.I.P. Evan to the show. He's not really dead in real life. He's awesome. We just saw him a few weeks ago. He's great. But anyways, we appreciate everyone hanging out. And disc golf's fun to talk about.
240 episodes deep.
Yeah.
71 episodes of staggered stance. And if you're counting, I've been on 66 of them.
Wow.
There you go. That's 65 more and you're caught up to me already.
That's what I'm saying. Acquired taste. We all got our own quirks. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody, thank you for tuning in to another wonderful Monday night of Staggered Stance. We actually do really love talking about these controversial things in the sense of it engages you guys into our chat more, but we do try our damnedest and our best to actually bring you fun.
No, we're just fishing for the compliments.
You can fact check us on some of these rule things. Josh is, shout out to him, Rob Leonard, Matt, Ben for holding that down last week. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out Pop Drop Lock and also TitanDiscGolf.com for all your disc golf needs. Play Pop Drop Lock this week. We got the Ale Open going on. I think that's the name of it, but I'm not sure. And we just talked about this. But anyways, big European event going on.
Don't miss out on getting your picks in if you watch this far. Do it right now. PopDropLock.com.
Check us out on all your favorite podcast platforms. Tell someone you love them this week. Be nice to one another. Everybody love everybody. Catch you guys in the next one.
Everybody love everybody.
Oh, Ben, we miss you. When are you coming back, Ben?
Turkey's over the line, my man.
Ben, 5 more weeks until you're back in Leicester?
Yeah. I'll be back in July. And then we should all record a round. We haven't done
Well, you're the pro recorder now, so you get to do it. Lucky you.
Have Gannon record you playing.
Yeah, Gannon records us. All right. Peace out, everybody. Catch you out there.